and gentlemen, let's go. We ain't got no time to waste. Let's go. You are now listening to Jason Anderson, and you are in the zone.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Just how tough is it to win on the road in the NBA?
Always, when team is playing in front of their crowds, it's they're fighting, they're never giving up. Same as us when we are playing home. So you need to have extra effort so you can. Those are guys, look at them, they're kissing. Look at them, they're enjoying life.
You're in the zone on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
I'm at a Thursday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Brisco and Beards heading up until 2 o'clock. The next 4 hours we've got you. A lot of football to get into and talk about today. We'll hear from the Chiefs coming up later on in the 11 o'clock hour. Matt Verderame will be our guest at 11 o'clock from Fansided. Oh, KC Sports Network, we're covering the Senior Bowl. Well, we're in Vegas. Sorry, we've got a real day job. We can't come on your show for 15 minutes.
That's a really good Kent impression.
You sound so much like Kent.
That's what I imagine if Kent, Matt, and Craig all said the same thing in unison, in stereo. That's what
it would kind of even out to sort of a droopy dog kind of voice.
I just can't do the What about Joe Burrow? So Matt Verderame from Fansided. He'll be our guest. Matt Verderame. We'll talk with him coming up at 11 o'clock. Sports or Leisure today. We'll see how much time we have for Sports or Leisure because the press conferences, we do know there will be a number of people at the podium today. Coordinators, Dave Tobe, Steve Spagnuolo, Eric Bieniemy, Patrick Mahomes today again, and TBD. We'll find out who is going to talk with Patrick Mahomes and the coordinators today. So another packed day of press conferences. I wonder if people will ask about his ankle. Hey, Patrick, how did your ankle respond after yesterday? Was it good? You feel good today? Feel good, look good, play good?
Grown any new ligaments? Lost any ligaments?
Do you need my ligaments?
Can I give you my ligaments?
They are healthy. They are not elastic. You will probably re-injure them pretty quickly, but you can have them to start the game at least. So we'll hear from Patrick Mahomes, the coordinators, and we'll see who else. Sports or Leisure coming up later on in the show. Let's start here. Falls down a well, eyes go cross, gets kicked by a mule, they go uncrossed. I don't know. I put the format together at 9:30, and it is already dated. The format I put together at 9:30, I update the line when I put that together. So the line on Monday was Chiefs -1.5. Tuesday, they were +2. Wednesday or Sunday was -1.5. Then Monday +2. Tuesday +2.5. Yesterday morning they were +1.5. This morning at 9:30, 38 minutes ago, when I put this together, they were +1. The Chiefs right now are -1. They are 1-point favorites. In the last 38 minutes, that line has moved 2 points. Riddle me this, Batman. Falls down a well, eyes go cross, gets kicked by a mule, they go uncrossed. I don't know. What has happened in the last 40 minutes? Did a whale come in? Not a well, a whale come in and just place a bleep ton of money on the Chiefs and go, you know what? You guys are overreacting to this Patrick Mahomes ankle injury, and you're also overreacting to the way the offensive line played against the Bills, missing a couple of interior defensive linemen in the snow and no Von Miller. I'm here to correct this with all of this money I'm going to place. It doesn't move 2 points just like by one person. This is at DraftKings, by the way. So maybe people can still find the Chiefs' favorite somewhere. I'm mad at myself that yesterday, when they were +125 just to win, I'm mad that I didn't just place like $20 on them. Because when are you going to get the Chiefs at home +125?
In the playoffs, no less?
Now they're -110.
Good news here is I think it's like Midwestern weather. If you don't like it, wait half an hour and check again.
Nope, now they're minus 115.
Let's just see. Maybe Patrick Mahomes will trip and fall trying to get up to the podium today, and then the line it'll be Bengals minus 6 by 4:45 this afternoon.
They were a 1-point favorite, and the Bengals, obviously a 1-point dog when I looked at this right before the show, and they were both minus 110. Essentially, it's just a pick 'em. The line now is minus 115. So,
in a week of nobody believes in us, what we've actually established is that nobody believes in anything. There's nothing to believe in.
If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
You'll bet on anything.
Texas, I don't know, man. I put a whole $2 on it. My bad.
Oh, I could have moved it. Let's coordinate that next time.
Thanks a lot. Why didn't you tell me? I would have placed a little cheese on it. And this morning I was like, you know what? Should I just go ahead and do it? Put the $20 on the Chiefs plus 105 money line. Should I just go ahead and should I do it? Should I just do it? I don't know.
I'm no expert on the inner machinations of how the sports books all do it and how much action it takes to move points and anything like that. But one thing that would make at least a little bit of sense to me on just a pop psychology level is this feels like a game. First of all, a game we're all watching, we're all paying attention to, but it feels like a game where people think they might have an extra feeling or a little edge, or they go, oh, well, actually, I listened to Mahomes' press conference. He sounded good. He sounded ready. I think he's going to be okay. Or you go, oh, these books opened it at minus 3 for the Chiefs. I watched Mahomes on that ankle. There's no way the books are getting this wrong. When usually they've got it pretty much exactly right. They're going to split the difference. They're going to make their money, and we're all going to feel like we maybe had some inside track. But in this case, just seems like a game you could talk yourself into having the extra little bit of information.
913-912-4810 Texas. Josh, I will meet you at Buffalo Wild Wings and fight you if you mention Mahomes tripping again.
Because I will fight you.
I am at Buffalo Wild Wings.
I'm at Buffalo Wild Wings. My God,
yes, okay.
man. Yeah. Have some pride in yourself.
This is for the 0-16 parade idea?
That's exactly
is that right?
That's so great.
A great moment in sports talk radio history.
If you're one of them guys that's planning to have a parade, you stay away from me, my show, and my family, because I will fight you.
Is there a pill bottle somewhere in there? Is there a rattling noise in there somewhere? It's been a minute since I've heard that beautiful audio. Thank you, Texter.
Yes. All right, 913-912-4810. So there you go. Chiefs are now the 1-point favorite, so now the Bengals can play the disrespect card that nobody believes in them. And the Chiefs, now, what do? Now that they're the favorites, do they just lay down? There's no extra motivation,
That's
right?
Yeah, the
Does it
bulletin
change?
board, they had to take everything off.
Does it change back to Arrowhead now?
Burrowhead is still trending in Kansas City.
I saw that.
Moment.
I refuse to click on it.
With your Twitter luck, that's anytime you don't click on a trending topic, it's probably for the best.
Why does it bother me? Can we dime store psychologist this? Can I lay on the couch and ask?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
Why does it? Because I know that there's the part of who cares? You know, who cares? Shouldn't bother you.
Let's explore that, Jason.
But it really does.
How does it make you feel?
It annoys the bleep out of me.
What if I called it Herbert Head? How would that make you feel? Or if it was
I wouldn't care.
Allen Head,
wouldn't bother me.
Those don't bother you.
No, because the Chiefs have already beat them, so you can't do that. It's scoreboard. It's go away.
What if I called it? Okay, what if I called it Bingle Head?
No, still it.
All right.
I don't know. I don't know. I really. There's a lot of reasons why I want them to win. Obviously. But this is one of them because, good God, what are you talking about?
We've narrowed it down some. You're getting your feelings out. It's never bad to get your feelings out in a healthy atmosphere like this. So it really feels like it is specifically connected to Joe Burrow. Did you find yourself in Bengals Bills? Did you find yourself rooting for Buffalo in that game?
Yes, because I thought it was a better matchup for the Chiefs.
Okay, interesting.
Because I haven't felt like Buffalo was good in a month and a half. And I talked about that going into the final part of the season and even going into that game that I'd rather play it doesn't matter where they play, Atlanta, Arrowhead, whatever. The good part is if you play the Bengals, you get it at Arrowhead. Play the Bills, you got to go to Atlanta. But I liked the matchup better against the Bills because I just didn't really believe in them here late in the season, even though beginning of the season I picked the Bills to win the Super Bowl.
What if I called it Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta?
What's the name of the Bengals stadium? Is it Paul Brown? Paycor?
Is it Paycor now? What if I called it Patcor Stadium? How does that make you feel? Okay.
I like that.
A breakthrough.
But they haven't won there. So
No, well,
not
that's...
since 2018 when they wiped the floor, but there was no Burrow there.
It would help if the Bengals
Sad
were...
fans on Reddit was that game.
That's right.
The what was it?
The birth of sad fans.
Was the Bengals?
Was
Sunday
that,
night? Was that Thursday night
Bengals,
or Sunday night?
It was a Sunday night game.
It was the Sunday night game that got flexed.
I knew it was a night game because I was in Destin watching it with my brother-in-law, who's a Bengals fan, and they weren't really watching it because the Bengals sucked at the time, so why would you pay attention to football when they sucked?
It'd be easier for it to be Patcor Stadium if the Bengals are ever good enough to host the AFC Championship game there.
That's a good point. Texas, does it annoy you calling Vegas Arrowhead West? No, because that's real. I mean, it's just.
I mean, that's been an established fact.
It doesn't bother me for some reason. I don't know why. Not really sure.
The reason that I really like the Bengals embracing Burrowhead is because it is as good of a needling as I can remember for a fan base. Because
I feel it.
I know, me too. Because Arrowhead is so ingrained in everything Kansas City. The Bengals have been that needle in your side, a thorn in your side these last couple of years. It's a good piece of trash talk.
Tex says if the same thing was happening against the Patriots, would it be Foxborough? Burrow, not Foxborough.
Wow, that they're going to take that. That's going to happen, I think. Foxborough.
Tex says the name of the stadium in Cincinnati is Meatwater Stadium. That's right. We had chili cheese conies the other night in honor of the Chiefs playing the Bengals. Only ours didn't taste like dog food.
Yeah, that's good.
So we went for the non-dog food chili cheese coney.
I wondered why you looked like you were wasting away these last couple of days.
That's right.
You've been walking different. You crawled into the studio this morning. You seem dehydrated.
So here's the texter, or here's the thing, texter. I've read your text. I'm not going to read it on the air.
Aw.
But just know that I laughed.
Okay, so it's a good
Yes.
text that's not going to make it to air.
The texter out there, know that you're the one that texted in since it's an away game for Cincy. How about? And then I just stopped him. I laughed.
Could I just get a quick glance at the iPad over there real quick so I know which one you're looking? I can't. I'll open it up on
I'll show you.
I'll open it up.
Yeah, but you're not going to read that off. All right, so let's.
I'm not
get
going to
into
read.
it.
No. I just wanted it. I'm just bad at having secrets kept from me.
Gain any confidence watching videos yesterday? Breaking down videos, Zapruder film. Pat McAfee paused it. They went to the big screen. They circled it. He had his little pointer thing, and they're stopping and rewinding, calling Harold Kuntz one of the best reporters in America because
damn right he is.
He doesn't even have Patrick Mahomes' head in the video because we don't care about his head. It's about the ankle. That's what he showed. Harold Kuntz, one of the best reporters in America. And then I don't know who it was, but somebody crossed in front of the camera, and he just starts, what are you doing? We're watching the ankle, and you're not even paying attention. This is clearly a 60-year-old man. He's got some stonewashed jeans on. He's got the imprint in the back pocket of the wallet. This guy's clearly 55, 60 years old. Get the hell out of the way. Everybody across the nation is studying the videos of him walking down the stairs and him jogging in practice, and then he was a full participant.
Yeah, he was.
I think the full participant is the more encouraging thing than even watching the videos, because we can see the videos, and I think you can favor it without showing that you're favoring it when you're just doing a little jogging, because then you can step on it. You're jogging straight. Mm-hmm. You can step on it right at the top, so there's no movement really one way or another with the ankle, just planting your foot flat each time you step down. You can favor it a little bit without really showing that you're favoring it. But if you're taking all the snaps under center, shotgun, throwing the ball, stepping, moving, and you're taking every single snap, that's different than just jogging around. And he didn't need to then take a break and miss a series or two for Chad Henne to come in and do that he took all the snaps in practice yesterday. That's more encouraging than watching the video. Even if I didn't see a video and they said he's taking all the snaps. But I think seeing the video and seeing him jogging and doing some, calisthenics and warm-ups and things like that, and then knowing he took every snap, I became more confident in the Chiefs' ability to still have the best quarterback on the planet back there, whether he's limited in his right ankle it's probably a better and more athletic right ankle than I have.
Definitely.
Right now.
Yeah. Trying to donate ankles to Mahomes would definitely do him no favors at this point. That alone is good news. But yeah, I didn't gain a let me go check that line again amount of confidence. I feel no urgency to try to put a single nickel on the result of this game in particular. But just from a pure, hey, is this game are we going to get a real next chapter of Chiefs Bengals? The odds of that went up exponentially in my mind yesterday.
Okay.
I'm still worried that it's the hobbled Mahomes versus healthy Burrow. If it was flipped, I think we would feel extraordinarily confident about, Burrow's walking, but he's got to plant off that back foot. We got Mahomes. But I think it's going to be a game, and I think he's going to look like at least some version of himself. And you had asked me when he was sitting on the bench for 5 seconds on Saturday against the Jags, or even playing in the second half, I would have taken that in a heartbeat for this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, when he left, and I haven't found good audio of, I saw the video out there of the mic'd up with Mahomes when he was on the sideline, and then it cut to him talking. I saw that video out there, but I haven't found the good audio that's released of the actual mic with him talking. If he's mic'd up, it would sound a lot more crisp and clear in that. It sounds like it's just a microphone that was also on the sideline, like one of those boom mics that was there, or parabolic mics that can pick up different sounds and, audio of, some people talking, but not really like, okay, this guy's mic'd up. You can hear everything he's saying pretty clear. But it's just Mahomes going, no, nope, no, I'm staying, I'm good, no, just fighting when he was taken out of the game. And, you expect, him to do that and to feel like he doesn't want to come out of the game because he wanted to stay in. He's a competitor. He continues to go out there and try to work his way through it. Staying in the game was a big aspect of it. Yesterday video, big aspect of it. Full participant, big aspect of it. What does today look like? Because he practiced yesterday. Do they dial it back a little bit? Does Chad Henne get some reps today? Because one of the concerns I have, and I don't know how much it's even been talked about at all in regards to Patrick Mahomes. We're discussing how limited he will be and if he can roll around and do the crazy playmaking that he does. We're discussing all of those things, but nobody's really acknowledged or brought up the fact that when you have something like this, the risk of re-injury is much greater. There are people falling around him all the time. When he's moving and he's, that offensive line has to not only protect him to throw the football, but has to protect him with guys at his feet, hitting him falling backwards and having to put pressure on the right foot as he's falling, that he doesn't have, control over that, whereas he has control if he's running or throwing. That's a concern too, does that happen in the game? Because look, if he's doing this for practice, that thing is going to be taped up to be like a cast, and they'll have the painkillers. So I do think for that game to start as he's going along, I think it's going to look better than people would have imagined it would have looked when he left that game. Because I don't think he's shooting it up with painkillers for practice. I think he wants to just go out there and see let's test it. But I think that will happen in the game on Sunday. Yep. That it'll help. So I'm concerned about that, but I'm so much less concerned about what he's going to look like in the game.
Yep.
I want to take a timeout and I want to come back and we will talk about one of the other reasons why I'm a little less concerned.
It's Thursday.
Watched the.
We're speeding up. We're talking ourselves into it, Jason.
It's finally Thursday, Josh.
I know. I've thought it's Thursday for 3 days. It's a weird deal.
I watched the
Happy Friday, everybody.
Chiefs Bengals from December 4th for I think the third time this week. Last night.
Man, you are a glutton for punishment.
I know. I also watched Bengals Ravens too last night.
That might have helped your mood.
Mm-hmm, it did. I'm telling you, man. NFL plus condensed games, 36 minutes to watch a whole game. It's amazing. Takes a little bit longer if you rewind and do some of those things, look at it. But like a game, like I watch, even rewinding and stuff, like 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. It's great. So rewatched both those games last night, and I got some thoughts on what I saw from the game plan what it could mean for Sunday. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break. More Zone next.
Want to see more of The Zone? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. The Zone with Jason Anderson.
This is a guy through the first 3 quarters of the game had a quarterback rating of. Well, now I lost that.
Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, we'll talk with Matt Verderame coming up at 11 o'clock, Fansided. Hear from the Chiefs in their press conferences at about 11:45, 11:50 or so. Reaction to the press conferences in the noon hour, and then we'll play some sports or leisure at 1 o'clock.
I saw this tweet from Mick Schaefer, who's not in studio with us today because it's a Thursday, but contributing nonetheless because he tweeted during our first segment, at least say GEHA Field at Burrowhead. Sheesh. Good tweet, Mick. Good tweet.
Yeah, I like it. I like that.
Pronounced
913.
Geehaw, actually.
Yeah, that's
other
right.
Than that.
Geehaw
Field at Burrowhead is what
Geehaw.
Chris Jones will call it.
913-912-4810. Text says, we all know how much Andy likes to immediately go back to a guy who fumbled or dropped a ball. What are the odds that the first offensive play that they have Pat roll out? I mean, they might. It might just be roll the pocket, and that brings me to what I was talking about before the break in looking at the game plan. And it's like, okay, what are they going to do? What are they going to do with Patrick Mahomes? Because he's not going to be able to move. Let's hear from Booger McFarland yesterday. Here's Booger weighing in on the Bengals' defensive game plan versus a limited Mahomes.
Anytime you have a sitting duck in the pocket, you got to come after him because we know the thing that makes Mahomes special is his ability to elude and get out of the pocket and scramble. Well, guess what? When you got that high ankle sprain, he's not going to be able to move as well. And I don't care what they say, how he practiced during the week, his ability to move out of the pocket is going to be hampered. And Kev, if Mahomes is hampered, he's going to be a stationary duck in that pocket. And dare I say, you may have more athleticism than him, and that's not a good thing. So if I'm the Bengals, I'm coming after Patrick Mahomes. I'm blitzing him. I'm making him move on that injured ankle.
I hope they do. I hope they blitz him. Don't you? Like, I hope they blitz him. Lee, are you serious?
Yeah,
You're gonna leave Taylor Britt and Eli Apple one-on-one? I don't care against Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
Juju, please blitz. They play so much zone on the back end because Lou Anarumo has to protect his crappy cornerbacks. Mike Hilton's good, but if you're going to blitz, are you blitzing Mike Hilton, which they did against the Bills a couple of times? I hope they do. I hope they blitz Mahomes because I think Mahomes will eat. It's what he does. Do you think when you blitz Mahomes, every time you blitz him, he just starts running around and scrambling and being a magician when you blitz him? Most of the time that happens is when they're bringing 4. Because when they're bringing 5 or 6, most of those lanes to escape from are covered, are taken care of. So he'll sit there, or feel like he knows where the blitz is coming from, and find the mismatch. And with their secondary, cornerbacks, I should say, outside of Mike Hilton, who I think is really good as a slot corner, annoyed because I wanted the Chiefs to sign him. And I think they certainly could have signed him for the contract he signed with the Bengals. But regardless, I mean, Taylor Britt's good. He's a nice player, rookie. But that's their best one. Like, the Chiefs have Snead and McDuffie before they get to their nice player rookie, Jalen Watson. They've got Eli Apple. Please blitz Mahomes.
2 things that I think play into that. One is that the most memorable Patrick Mahomes plays are the ones where he is outside of the pocket creating and doing things that you've literally never seen anyone else do. I think that becomes so easy to remember that as being the main thing that you forget how devastating Mahomes is against the blitz. But sometimes even that is like, can he drift a little bit in the pocket and then, I don't know, jump off of a bum ankle and throw a touchdown? Yes, he can. We've seen this happen recently. But even beyond that, specifically in this game, I'm going to say a name that usually you get to mention first on this show, just on a day-to-day basis. Jerick McKinnon changes how I feel about teams blitzing Patrick Mahomes.
Son of a gun.
I'm sorry I took him from you, but there's no one on earth who I trust to protect Patrick Mahomes more right now than Jerick McKinnon in the backfield. Yep. So, yeah, I think the Chiefs would welcome some blitzes.
Speaking of Jerick McKinnon, we'll hear from him at the podium today.
Hey!
Fantastic. I wonder what it's like to...
And L'Jarius Sneed.
Look at that. Okay.
Also Snead for 5 minutes.
And, well, so, yeah, that's the crew there now. Reed, Mahomes... Tobe, Spags, Bieniemy, Snead, and McKinnon.
Okay. Snead for, I said 5 minutes, but 5 words is what I meant from L'Jarius Snead. Hey, you know what?
Plays fast, talks fast, answers fast.
Doesn't really answer, though. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to the game. No, it'll be fun. They're a good team, physical team. Yeah, we just gotta do what we're supposed to do. We gotta tackle.
He will not be called tuna in a can.
No, he won't. Text says PM15 eats pieces of Blitz for breakfast. You eat pieces of Blitz? No. So blitz him. He's immobile. He's a sitting duck, a statue back there. Okay. Well,
I think he said a stationary duck, which is, to me is like an origami duck made out of paper. It's stationary.
Stationary duck. Well, on the surface, it looks like they are just relaxing. But underneath is where all the work is going on with those little duck feet. So I went back and watched the Bengals-Chiefs game again. Mm-hmm. First 2 drives. This is what I wanted to look at last night. Was, okay, so they're going to have to change the game plan. 5-step drops, all these different things that the Chiefs like to do. A lot of 5-step drops against the Jags. First couple of drives for the Chiefs until Mahomes got injured. Then a lot of 3-step drops. Okay, so against the Bengals then, going up against a zone like that, you'd want to get a little more depth, let the routes develop, find those creases, boom, beat them because they're 70-75% zone. Here are the dropbacks for Patrick Mahomes, the first 2 drives. Screen pass, 3-step drop, quick throw down the line of scrimmage to Fort Season, 3-step drop. They rolled the pocket, and it was an incomplete pass. It was when it was 2nd and 4 down by the goal line, and he rolled the pocket. It was incomplete. Quick 2-step drop out of shotgun, incomplete to Travis Kelce. Next drive, 3-step drop, sacked by Andrew Wiley, who just got whipped by Hubbard right out of the gates. Wiley went and reached. Hubbard slapped his arms. He was toast.
The arm. I remember that play.
And then just engulfed Mahomes. That was shotgun, a quick 3-step drop, and Mahomes couldn't even start to step up because Hubbard was already there. It wasn't even Trey Hendrickson. It was Hubbard. Annoying. The next 2 plays, even though one of them didn't count, but I was counting just all plays that they called and all dropbacks. 5-step drop because it was 3rd and 15. That was the ineligible man downfield. 5-step drop because it was 3rd and 20. So he had 9 pass attempts on the first 2 drives. 6 of them were screens, 3-step drops, or throws down the line of scrimmage. 1 rollout and 2 5-step drops that were third and 15 and 3rd and 20. Outside of that, it was 3-step drop, get the ball out, line of scrimmage, screen pass, here's a handoff, play action rollout. One of them, I don't know that we'll see that. Maybe we will, like the texter says. First play action bootleg rollout. He was pretty mad at Andrew Wiley because it was a naked bootleg, and he went to the offensive line's right, and Andrew Wiley let the guy beat him to the right, where Mahomes is going to be there, so you got to make that guy go inside. Instead, he beat him on his outside shoulder, which then went right at Mahomes, and Mahomes had to just throw the ball away. Turned right around and looked at Andrew Wiley pointing at his head. Think.
It's got to be a bad feeling.
You can't let him go that side, you mother. And then the next play was an incomplete pass. They kicked a field goal. 6 of the 9 passing attempts were 3-step, screen pass, line of scrimmage. 11 of the total 13 plays they called in those first 2 drives were out of the shotgun. So when they say, well, now you're going to have to stay out of the shotgun for Patrick Mahomes. You got to stay in the shotgun. You're not going to be able to do those deep passes. You can't run around back there. The first 2 drives, they didn't. Mind you, they scored 3 points on those first 2 drives.
Right, yeah, I couldn't decide if this was making me feel better or worse.
Right.
That's already what they were doing, but it didn't work that well.
It worked until they got to 3rd and 3, and the ball was batted down at the line of scrimmage by Reeder. It was a lucky play, but you know what? Get your hand up in the passing lane, and I think they scored a touchdown on that play. That's just me. Yeah. Kelsey's at the 3-yard line. The nearest defender's 3 yards behind him. He catches it.
Usually pretty good at that.
You're not tackling him one-on-one to get to the goal line. It's a touchdown, but it happens. It would have been 7 points. If on 2nd down and 8, Wiley doesn't just get whipped by Sam Hubbard, who knows what happens on that drive. But that was clearly the game plan the first 2 drives. Yeah. Here's what I find to be really fascinating, though, about that. The next 3 drives combined, 19 dropbacks. Only 5 of them were 3-step or quick throws down the line of scrimmage. 7-step drop, play action rollout, 5-step drop. 3-step drop, he scrambled for 8 yards. 5-step, 5-step, 5-step drop, 5-step drop, under center, play action, 7-step drop. 3-step drop, play action rollout, 3-step drop, drop 5, play action, 7-step drop. Those are the next 3 drives.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You got out of your first 15, right?
Right.
You can reasonably say that quick game stuff was in the first 15 scripted.
Was in the first 15 scripted. It's what they did. And obviously the game plan was then going to be, now we'll switch it up for drive 3, drive 4, play off that, see what we have. This is what we're showing them. Now we're doing something different.
Or
they
saw something different from the Bengals and thought we need to adjust to them. I have no idea which order is which there, but somebody did something different. Someone changed on purpose and someone reacted, I imagine.
Because it wasn't night and day.
Yeah.
11 of those 13 plays, the first 2 drives were out of shotgun. 16 of the next 27 were out of shotgun. So it wasn't nearly, 16 and 11. 16 shotgun, 11 under center, as opposed to 11 and 2. Like it was shotgun, quick throws. Shotgun, quick throws. Shotgun, quick throws. Then it was play action under center, 7-step drop, roll the pocket, shotgun, drop 5 steps in the shotgun, deeper drops. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that you're going to have to do something different this week with Mahomes because he's not going to be able to move around. I'm like, well, those first 2 drives, they game planned and scripted what you would have guessed this Sunday will look like, right?
Well, the other thing about it is even like you mentioned the specific, like the rollouts, the planned pocket movements and everything. I was getting my lab coat on a little bit to hop onto the internet and reading a little more about some high ankle sprain stuff, specifically in light of what Mahomes showed in practice from those videos and everything. It seems like the straight line movement should be relatively stable. I was going to say unaffected, and I think that's probably overselling it. But I think if Mahomes knows where he's going, he could go from point A to point B and still preserve even those little rollouts. I wonder about the improvisation once the pocket kind of breaks down.
Yeah.
So I still think you probably want to avoid that. But like you said, like you just went through, that's not new.
No.
Like the Chiefs don't mind playing quick and having the ball out of his hands quickly and then adjusting as you need to adjust. Both of these teams are going into this game with like 15 different game plans they can use.
That's right.
Lou Anarumo, Andy Reid, Spider-Man meme, binders full of nonsense for this game.
2-person chess match.
Some could say. Some could say there are 2 2-person chess matches going on. Perhaps the pieces overlap. I'm not sure how that works.
What I'm really interested in seeing is the reaction on Sunday. Let's say the first drive is Mahomes, quick throw, screen, takes a snap, a couple steps, get it out quick, and people go, here's the game plan with Mahomes and the ankle. It's what you're going to have to do. You got to adjust to that ankle. You're going to see it. Unless the first drive is 5-step drop, bomb, under center, he's going to hand off under center. Nope, here comes a play action. They're going to roll the pocket, and Andy Reid saying, no, it's our game plan. It's our full playbook. We've got Mahomes. He's fine. He's a little hobbled, but he's got both legs, and we're going to use him like that, and we're going to do what we can off of what we think your script may be. And that's why, as Booger McFarland said, blitz them. I hope they do.
Here's one little wrinkle on that just to keep an eye out for is I really do wonder what it's going to look like trying to drive off that back foot.
Yeah.
So when we see the first deep shot, will it have the juice you expect? And then even when it gets blitzed and hurried, if he's able to push off, if he's not able to push off that back foot, that ball might just travel with a little less zip.
Yeah.
And one of the big things that contribute to all the crazy arm angles and the windows Mahomes can hit is that he gets the ball from point A to point B quicker than most guys can, even when it's not a deep shot downfield. So just something else to keep in mind. But that is the baseline of what it looked like last time. It'll be very interesting to see what jumps out to you from this game on Sunday.
And you've also got, and we'll take a break, but you've also got, in that game, the Chiefs scored 24 and had the ball at midfield driving when Kelsey fumbled, literally the only fumble this year. They scored that many points and did that, and then they missed a field goal, so it would have given them 27. They did that. Now exchange Allegretti for Tooney, Sky Moore for Kadarius Toney with that offense, because that's what you're doing.
Yep.
And now exchange 3 offensive linemen for the Bengals with backup offensive linemen and their left tackle, playing left tackle for the first time in his career against the Bills, held up well.
Yep. Sure did.
Good work. I mean, that's pat on the back. That's well done. That's tip of your cap for what they did. Do they do it 2 games in a row? Does Steve Spagnuolo, does he see what they were doing to try to protect those offensive linemen and adjust to that? And the Bills don't have somebody anywhere near Chris Jones' level and being able to disrupt the middle of that line. We'll see. Those are big differences this go around, and we'll find out what it means on Sunday. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling more zone next.
Follow the show on Twitter at J810Anderson, at JB Brisco, at Beards McFly, and at Sports Radio 810. The Zone with Jason Anderson.
Text says, nope.
Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
We'll talk with Matt Verderame coming up at 11 o'clock. One of the other things that stood out in that game, December 4th, and whether you can take things away from that game or not, I think you can take a few things away as we're talking about like game plan, how many times they dropped Mahomes back deep or a quick passing game. But Nick Bolton and Willie Gay were bad. And that's bad meaning bad, not bad meaning good.
Yeah, bad.
They were not good in that game. Just
Not fun to watch.
Oh, it was, watching it back, you're just like, oh my God. Where are they going? What are you seeing? Why are you missing that tackle? Oh, you slid off another guy. It's unbelievable how many wide open holes, and those guys were in different spots. If they play like that, Joe Mixon will have 130. If they play like that.
I think this is the right angle. We've spent a lot of time talking about the right ankle, but I think the right angle is, hey, if the Chiefs linebackers stink again,
it could be a long day.
High ankle sprain might not be that big of a deal.
You'd better put pressure on Joe Burrow if those linebackers are going to play like
That's right.
that. So we'll talk with Matt Verderame coming up next.
It's
The Zone with Jason Anderson.
You know what makes me nervous about today's show?
Where do we begin?
Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, coming up later on this hour, we'll hear from Andy Reid, Dave Tobe, Steve Spagnuolo, Eric Bieniemy, Patrick Mahomes, L'Jarius Sneed, and Jerick McKinnon. A lot of Chiefs today.
Including in the breaks. We just keep keep extending our break conversations, just right out of segment conversations.
I know.
Which is a really good sign that both of us are pretty worked up about this football game.
Oh, let's see what Matt Verderame thinks about this football game.
He doesn't get worked up very easily.
No, not really. Not really. Probably just low-key, just chilling. Maybe a few gummies every day just to keep him low-key. I don't know. Who knows?
Fruit snacks, he means.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. My kids have gummies all day. What are you talking about, man?
That's
Jeez Louise.
better?
Gummy bears and gummy worms and things. Matt, welcome into the show. How are you, sir?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
See, told you. Told you. All right. Have you been studying the Zapruder film of Patrick Mahomes' ankle, and you feel better, worse, indifferent to what you see?
Yeah, I'm not going to sit there and study his ankle during a press conference, but I think
what?
What are we doing? I mean, you can walk on it. Can he play on it? He's going to play. I think, realistically speaking, he's not going to be 100%. The questions are going to be how close is he? You know, I went back 2 years ago, or watched the game 2 years ago when he played against Buffalo in the AFC title game. And he had a toe injury. He was coming off a concussion. And he said yesterday that that's the most painful injury he's ever had. If you watch that game, you would never know he had a toe injury. He's moving around. He's running around. He's avoiding sacks. He's making plays. Is he that effective on Sunday? If he is, they have a really good shot to win the game. If he's even 80% of what he looked like in that tape from a couple of years ago, they have a very good shot to win the game. I think that's going to be the question. Look, this is the NFL. We all know the drill. He's going to get treatment all week long. They may or may not do some things right before kickoff to make that ankle feel better. I mean, this is the National Football League, so they will do everything they can possibly do to get him in fighting trim for that game.
Do you have any idea to sort of make heads or tails out of the betting line in this one? Chiefs are now the 1-point favorites in this game.
Well, I think, at first, Vegas said, okay, we'll open it up, Chiefs by 3, standard line, see what happens, let the public move it. Public went nuts and moved the line 5.5 points in favor of the Bengals, went all the way to 2.5. Then everybody saw that Mahomes still had 2 ankles, and the line just went wildly back to the direction. I think the full participation thing also probably helped that out. So my expectation is this game's probably going to be right around a pick'em for the game.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if Mahomes continues to look better and better, maybe it slides even a little bit more toward Kansas City. But I think it's probably somewhere between what it is now and a pick, and it's probably what it should be.
I think there's so many things affecting this game, too, and just from that standpoint, one, obviously the ankle of Patrick Mahomes, but I think the performance of the Bengals against the Bills last week. And I was thinking last night, Matt, I'm like, what if the exact same scenario was leading up to this game, except for the Bengals had just played the Ravens and they were getting ready to play the Chiefs? Like if the Bills had the 1 seed and the Chiefs had the 2 seed, and the Chiefs beat the Jags and Mahomes is hobbled, but the Bengals survived the Ravens by a 14-point swing fumble recovery, what would the line be, and what would people be talking about this game? It wouldn't be like Bengals are winning, they're going to run away with this game. Chiefs, it's Joe Burrow, it's the Bengals, they're the better team, they're doing this. I'll take the Bengals money line, I'll take them minus the points, whatever it is. There would be a different feel, and I almost think like maybe because it was a divisional matchup and those things can kind of get crazy, but I feel like the Ravens-Bengals game is just like dismissed like it's Men in Black and everybody had the eraser thing, and it's just the Bengals all year have been what they were against the Bills.
Well, I think if that had been the case and Mahomes was definitely healthy, I think the Chiefs are favored close to a touchdown in the game, honestly. Now, I don't know that they should be, but I think they would be. I mean, part of that's based off of, too, like what were the Bills favored by? They were favored by 6 by the time that game went off in Orchard Park. So I think the Chiefs probably close that, 6-7 points. Look, the playoffs, one thing I always have felt about the playoffs, and especially in recent years covering the league, like these games are all unto themselves, every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
People get way too into, oh, my God, did you see how good that team looked last week? Or oh, they look terrible, they barely won, they can't possibly win next week. I mean, that doesn't – it's not the way this stuff works in the NFL. This is not a best of 7. This is a best of 1. On Sunday night, the Chiefs and Bills are going to play Chiefs and Bengals are going to play Game 7. Every game is Game 7 in the NFL playoffs. And I think people get way too up and way too down based off of what these teams look like. I mean, everybody spent all week going to that Bills-Bengals game talking about how the Bengals basically were going to look like you, me, and Brisco trying to block Buffalo, right?
Chiefs in the Super Bowl against the Bucs. That's what it was going to look like.
Right. It was going to be awful. They can't possibly do it. Bengals looked unbelievable. They might very well play good again this week. Would I be shocked if the Chiefs just run roughshod over that line? No. I mean, it's a totally different team. It's a different game. It's a different setting. Like, I just think sometimes people get so wrapped up, and certainly that impacts the betting line. But in reality, like the Chiefs and the Bengals is not going to look like the Bills and the Bengals. It's not going to look like the Bengals and the Ravens. It's not going to look like Chiefs Jacksonville. It is going to be its own thing because they're two different teams, and that game will take on its own persona.
Yeah, and it may not even look like Chiefs Bengals the previous 3 times. It'll be its own individual game. I mean, somebody may win by 3, somebody may win by 10, and that may be the Chiefs, maybe the Bengals. But you're right, it's going to be its own individual game, and just because the previous 3 have ended up being 3-point games, they weren't really played the same. Like the game script, the first 2 kind of felt like it went that way, but this last, in December, the Bengals were up 14-3. I mean, so it wasn't like the Chiefs had a huge lead. Then they came back and took the 24-20 lead in that game, or 24-17 lead in that game. But they were down 14-3, and then they made a monster comeback against the Bengals. So they flipped the script a little bit. Only difference is, in those 3 games, Matt, the Bengals have outscored the Chiefs 26-6 in the fourth quarter in the overtime. Does that happen yet again in this game, or were there circumstances in those games that happened with that? A 3rd and 27 blitz, and Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase. Penalties down at the goal line gives them an automatic first down. A fumble by Travis Kelce earlier this year in that game. Like, yeah, there's some plays that are made and aren't made. Doesn't mean that the next time they do that, the Bengals are going to make the same amount of plays and just find a way to win by 3 points.
I really think this game for the Chiefs comes down to 2 things. I think if they do these 2 things, they win. If they don't do either one of them, they certainly lose. And if they split the baby, then we're probably looking at a game with 2 minutes to go, and who knows what's going to happen. But they've got to win this game up front. Everybody's going to spend so much time all week and already have fun with the quarterbacks and the receivers and Kelce, and that's all fine and well. Everybody already knows all those guys are great. If the Chiefs win up front in this football game and they don't turn the ball over, they will win the game. They are superiorly talented up front, especially on the offensive line, but they have not played like that against Cincinnati in the past. Yep. Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard have given the Chiefs tackles all kinds of problems. Orlando Brown was awful last time they played Cincinnati.
Yep.
Andrew Wiley struggled in that game. Now, obviously, they didn't have Tooney, but that was also the case in the AFC title game when they were rushing 3 and getting pressure. Like, the Chiefs have to be able, specifically those tackles, they have to be able to win their one-on-ones. And if they're going to rush 3 guys, the Chiefs should just slide out, leave Humphrey on an island as best they can, and just block those edge rushers. The other side of this is defensively for Kansas City. Look, let's assume that it's the same line we saw a week ago at Cincinnati, because I think that's probably the smart money. Chris Jones has got to win these one-on-ones inside and just destroy the interior of the Bengals offensive line. If I'm the Chiefs, I would walk Nick Bolton up into the A-gap about 40 times in this game and force them to block one-on-one and say, here it comes. And as far as you have 2 backup tackles in this game, Frank Clark, Carlos Dunlap, Mike Dana, George Karlaftis, got to win. You've got to win those matchups. Those are matchups that you should be able to dominate, and they have not done it. You look at the Chiefs this year, 55 sacks, best in the AFC. They had 1 sack against Cincinnati. So this is not, now you might be seeing a completely different line. 60% might be different, but they need to be able to get home. They couldn't do it last year in the AFC title game after Tennessee had 9 sacks. Chiefs only had 1. If the Chiefs went up front and they don't turn the ball over, they win the game. If they don't do that, I think it's very hard for them.
Visiting with Matt Verderame, Fansided. You mentioned that Joe Thuney didn't play in that game, and while Orlando Brown and Andrew Wiley didn't exactly look like Fisher and Schwartz, but Thuney makes a difference at the left guard spot because I think Allegretti struggled in that game as well and got beat a few times, but that's expected in a backup left guard. How much do you think makes a difference, regardless of ankle for Patrick Mahomes, but adding in Thuney and adding in Tony for Sky Moore? Thuney for Allegretti and Tony for Sky Moore in this matchup.
I think it's significant. Tony is the one guy in this game that you could see maybe he doesn't do much of anything, and okay, fine, or he puts a double move on Eli Apple and he's gone for a 70-yard touchdown.
I mean, Demarcus Robinson did that, so I think Tony could do it.
It's certainly in the realm of possibility. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I think if you're the Chiefs, Tony gives you an added element of on any given play, he can turn in chunk yardage. So he's definitely a big factor. We'll see if Hardman plays. If he does, he also didn't play against Cincinnati last time. And he's actually had success in his career against Cincinnati, pretty good success. You go look at his games against the Bengals, he has lit them up a few times. And then Thuney, yes, no question, that'll help. One thing I did go back and look, because in my head I was thinking about this, and I wanted to make sure I was right. In my head I thought to myself, the Chiefs, it feels like every time they play the Bengals, they run the ball really well. They don't run the ball enough. And I went back and I looked. In the last 3 games against Cincinnati, the worst game they had rushing the ball, yards per carry, 5.5. And yet they barely run the ball 20 times in a game. If you're the Chiefs and you can run the ball early in this football game, I really think you go heavy. You put a couple tight ends on the field, getting 12 personnel, 13 personnel. 2 things. One, you can just ram the ball down Cincinnati's throat and keep Burrow off the field. Number 2, when you go into personnel groupings that are that defined, when you are that heavy, it makes it really hard, even as good as Lou Anarumo is, their coordinator, makes it very hard to really do a whole heck of a lot creatively. Like at some point, it's just, I've got to get in base defense. I've got to put 8 guys in the box. I don't have much of a choice here. Or I can put 7 guys in the box and just get run over all game long, but at least Mahomes isn't killing me down the field. If I'm the Chiefs, I would go with very extreme personnel packages in this game. 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends, and then on the flip side of it, go 4 wide with a running back. Go 5 wide. Force the Bengals to play a game where you dictate the terms with your personnel packages and your formations. Where the Bengals, yeah, they can maybe run a safety up or run a guy back, but realistically, there's only so much you can do. I mean, at some point it just becomes, we are almost forced to play a certain way because the Chiefs are going so extreme. I think that's one way you kind of take Anarumo out of the game, and you make the players on the field win without this big scheme advantage that they've had in some of these games.
It's interesting you talk about that. I hadn't given it much thought since a few weeks ago when we were talking on the air about the increased percentage of the Chiefs using 12 and even 13 personnel this year increased as of late in the season since that Bengals game, in the game against the Seahawks and Broncos and Raiders and all the different plays that they were throwing out there with the 2 tight end sets. And, I talked about it on the air and I'm like, this is one of 2 things, or maybe it's both. You put it on tape that, hey, they'll go 12 personnel, they'll go 13 personnel. Andy Reid likes his multiple tight ends. They're running the ball a little bit better. Also, they're working on some things. They're practicing some of these plays and some of these sets for when they face off against, I don't know, let's say Cincinnati, when the Bengals want to drop 8 and bring 3, that, well, are you going to do that if the Chiefs come out in 12 personnel with 2 tight ends? And they've had these game experiences with the plays, going back and looking at the film, seeing what they can adjust off of that. And I wonder how much in games where they felt like, we can be a little more vanilla, you run some more of the 12 and 13 because it gives you game reps for when you'll need it, maybe come Sunday.
I also think there's another thing that's not so coincidental. When did Blake Bell come back?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they started running all these big formations of teams. That is a huge factor. Blake Bell did not play against Cincinnati. He's not healthy yet. If I am the Chiefs in this game, I am lining up in big formations, and I am just running Pacheco like a battering ram at them in this football game. I don't care. I would tell him this week, get ready for 25 carries, because here it comes. Mm-hmm. You're getting it. You're getting the ball, and if we can get them into second and medium, that's the other part of this. You know, I think a lot of times in the age we're in now, people always just eschew the running games. They're like, well, just let Mahomes do it. Look, that's all fine. And God knows that's a sound strategy more often than it isn't. But in a game like this, if you can get the Bengals into 2nd and 4 and 2nd and 5, it opens up your entire playbook, and it helps your tackles. The Bengals can't just tee off all the time. Then it becomes, or are they going to run to my side? How do I have to play this? If they if they run play action, do I have to honor that? Okay, it's 2nd and 5. I do have to honor that because I don't know if they're going to run the ball or not. And if I get too far up the field, we got a problem. I think if you're Kansas City in this game, forget about Mahomes' ankle for a second. Because I honestly, to me, this wouldn't change anything. I really think your best way forward in this game is to be a very physical football team, which, by the way, I think this game is going to be a lot more physical than people think it's going to be.
I do too.
The Chiefs, one thing about them, they're not going to lack for motivation in this game. And the Bengals have played the whole chip on the shoulder, underdog thing all the way through, and it's been great for them. I think there's a genuine dislike between the two teams. I don't think the whole Burrowhead thing is going to go over too well in Kansas. Like, that is going to be – I would not be surprised it's the kind of game that going into the fourth quarter, it's like 20-17, and, you know, ice bags are going to be in major need by the time the game's. I think it's going to be a very hard-hitting football game.
I agree with that. Matt Verderame, Fansided, is our guest. We talk a lot about Lou Anarumo. If you're looking at the matchups, the chess match between the different coordinators in this game, is it are you focusing more on Lou Anarumo v. Andy Reid, or is it Zach Taylor versus Spagnuolo when the Chiefs' defense is on the field, what they can do against the Bengals' offense to try to slow them down?
I hate to straddle the fence. I mean, I think it's both. But I will say this. I think the Chiefs are going to score their points in the game. I mean, if you look at the Chiefs against the Bengals, everybody always makes this out like Mahomes struggles against Cincinnati. Mahomes had one really, really bad half last year in that AFC title game. The other 10 quarters he's played in these 3 games against the Bengals, he's lit them up. Mahomes has not had these big struggles against Cincinnati. They've scored points. They've moved the ball. Their big problem has been they've taken penalties and they've turned the football over. That, to me, is the biggest problem for them that they've got to correct in this game. Now, defensively speaking, in the AFC title game, they actually played well defensively. The other 2 games, they did not. I think a ton of it's going to come down to, again, up front. But with Spagnuolo, if I'm him, I went back and watched that Week 13 game on the All-22 film out of curiosity on Monday night. And the Chiefs tried to play a soft zone, much like the Bills just finished playing against the Bengals. And Burrow went 17-19. He lit them up when they were in zone coverage. And every throw that I can remember, maybe I'm forgetting one, was between the numbers. Every single one of them.
He destroyed between the numbers.
He killed Nick Bolton and Willie Gay in zone coverage. Just killed them. I mean, every time the Chiefs did it, he'd either throw in front of him or behind him, and he would just kill him. They could not get the right depth. If I'm the Chiefs in this game, I'll tell you right now, any passing situation, I take one of those backers off the field. I would take Bolton off. They'll probably take Gay off based on what they normally do. And I would put Brian Cook on the field.
Yep, I agree.
And I would get in a man coverage with them. I'd play 2 high safeties, and I'd tell the boundary corners, look, you play an inside technique. You get behind them on their back, on the hip, and you say, look, anything that goes over the middle of the field, you're going to have safety help inside. They're going to drive as hard as they can on these crossers, on these slants, on these digs. Any of that stuff that breaks toward the middle of the field, Juan Thornhill and Justin Reed are going to come screaming down on. And anything on the outside of the field, anything toward the boundary, you're responsible for it. You have inside leverage. You've got the boundary to help you out. Force Burrow, as great as he is, and I think he's phenomenal. He does not have the arm that Mahomes has, Herbert has, Allen has. I would force him time and again to throw the ball between the corner and the boundary and make him go deeper down the field. I think if you're the Chiefs, you may give up a couple of those because he's so good he'll hit a couple. That is a low percentage throw. And if he underthrows it a touch, you might pick the ball off. So I think if you're Kansas, get rid of the zone defense, be very physical with those safeties coming downhill in the middle of the field, and try to force every throw you possibly can to the outside. I think for Kansas City, that is the best way to play. It's not foolproof. There's ways I can get beat, but if you give him the middle of the field, you're dead on arrival. You're not going to stop them. You've got to figure out a way to force those throws outside the numbers. And I think if the Chiefs can do that, they're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, that jumped off the screen to me is how often he was working between the numbers. It also jumped off the screen how bad Bolton and Gay were in that game, not just in pass coverage, but even against the run. They
were awful.
It was terrible. And if they play like that, well, Mixon might have 130 yards. They've got to play better, which is one of the reasons why I'm feeling like, bring Bolton up to the A-gap like you're talking about. Set up Chris Jones one-on-one. Even if you want to blitz the guy, that's fine. Make them get the ball out quickly, press a little bit more so he can't sit back and let the plays develop over the middle of the field. And thinking about it as you were talking, I'm trying to think back to the throws that were to the sideline. There was the throw to Jamar Chase on the sideline that McDuffie rode him out of bounds. It was perfect coverage. T. Higgins down the field. McDuffie was there, perfect coverage. The roughing the passer was a throw down the sideline at Josh Williams. It was underthrown. The one time I can remember a throw to the sideline was when Burrow got pressure, moved around the pocket, escaped to his right, and then hit Jamar Chase coming back to the football on the sideline. That's the one that pops in. You're right. I just don't remember any sideline throws outside the numbers to Chase or Higgins.
I'm pretty confident, and look, obviously I don't. There's 31 throws in the game. I might be off by one or two. That throw that you just mentioned that he hit to Chase, I think is the only throw the entire game that he hit outside the numbers.
It's the only one I can remember, and I think I've watched the game three times.
It was certainly the only one of consequence. Now, to be fair, there was one on a 3rd and 1. They ran a pick play, and Williams got caught up in it, and Boyd had a walk.
Yeah, that's right.
He dropped the ball.
Yeah.
He did. It was a perfect throw, and Boyd just dropped it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but if I'm the Chiefs, even with that, I think, so what? He hit 2 of them. Like, I would challenge him to do it all. And I'm with you, by the way. If they're going to play Bolton and Gay in these past situations, they might as well just send them. They might as well just say, you know what? We're not going to be put in a spot here where they're just going to be lost in coverage anyway. I mean, the other side of that is, too, if you send the backer, a lot of times the back has to stay in because that's his responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So you're taking the guy out of pass coverage. Like, if I'm the Chiefs, I would not put those linebackers out there in big pass situations. I would even think about putting 7 DBs on the field and just saying, look, we're going to put as much speed as we can. We're going to put as much athleticism as we can. And if you want to run the ball at Joe Mixon on 3rd and 7, go nuts. Like, we'll probably still be able to get him down to the ground before he gets 7 yards. It's an interesting game. Last week we spent all this time talking about how Jacksonville's going to be ultra aggressive, which ironically they didn't go for 1 4th down. I don't think Cincinnati's in that boat because Cincinnati's on even footing with the Chiefs. I don't think this is going to be a game where it's 4th and 3 from their own 40 and they're going to go for it. Like, if you're the Chiefs, you can play a little bit more of a traditional game. Look, the Bengals present a lot of problems, and they've beaten the Chiefs 3 games in a row for a reason. But one thing is also true. The Chiefs have had all 3 of those games on their racket in the 4th quarter.
Mm-hmm.
It is not as though they've been blown out in these games. They have made critical errors in those games that have cost them. And if they can handle it a little bit better, not turn the ball over, get a pressure here and there. If you watch that tape, when they were in man, one thing that did jump out, Trent McDuffie was actually really good at Jamar Chase.
He was.
I wonder if they will really go to that in this game and give it a shot.
When you talk about the Chiefs not getting blown out or anything, and I'm going to get your prediction here, but just as a quick little nugget, the Chiefs and Bengals in these 3 games have played 185 minutes and 38 seconds of football. The Chiefs have led for 94 minutes and 23 seconds. The Bengals have led for 47 and a half minutes.
Yeah.
So they've quite literally doubled them in time led. It was tied for 43 minutes. So even if you take the amount of time that it was tied and the amount of time that the Bengals led, it's still fewer minutes than the Chiefs have led in these 3 games. They just have not finished the job. They got to do that. Chiefs-Bengals Sunday, 5:30. Matt, what do you think happens, and do you have a score in mind?
So I'm going to infuriate all the listeners now because I'm going to pick Cincinnati because the Chiefs have to prove to me they can beat them. I mean, I think it's a coin flip of the game. I will say this. I think the Chiefs play well, they'll win the game. I think they're the better football team. But they never play well against them. It's always one thing or the next. And I have a rule that I generally go by that if you don't beat a team over and over, I'm not going to pick you until you do it. I'd pick Cincinnati 27-23. I don't think that's set in stone. I'm much more confident in my pick in the NFC. I think Philadelphia's going to beat San Francisco. I think the Chiefs are the superior team. If they don't turn the ball over and they win up front, they will win this game. But they've got to prove it to me. So for now, I'm going to go Cincinnati. But I do think that if all things are equal and both teams play their best game, I think Kansas City will find a way. But they have not played that way.
Yeah.
They got to earn it. They got to find a way. So I'm sure they're really concerned about earning my pick. But that's where we're at.
Just throw some more bulletin board material up there. Matt Verderame, picking Cincy because they have to prove that they can beat them. Okay, we're going to prove, Matt Verderame, that we can beat this team. If there's one thing we want to accomplish, it's winning the Lamar Hunt Trophy and proving Matt Verderame wrong. From Fansided. Matt, you're the man. Really appreciate the time, sir. Enjoy the football, man.
Hey, thanks a lot. Take care, guys.
Absolutely. There's Matt Verderame joining us. He's got and the logic makes sense. Logic makes sense. All of this, we can break down what can happen with this and that. We've broken that down 3 times now. What can happen? This and that and this and that. And 3 times the Chiefs have lost by a field goal with late game massive plays that were or were not made, depending on, the team that won or lost. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling. We'll hear from the Chiefs coming up later on this hour. More Zone next.
Take the show with you by listening live on 810WHB.com, in the 810 mobile app, or by subscribing to The Zone wherever you get your podcasts. You're in the zone.
And there are guys you feel like are going to be. Are there guys
with Jason Anderson?
Boy, that's an unfortunate slip up.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Thank you to Matt Verderame. We'll hear from the Chiefs coming up in a little bit. Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, Dave Tobe, Eric Bieniemy, Patrick Mahomes, L'Jarius Sneed, Jerick McKinnon, all at the podium today. Ankle watch. Day 4 or 5, or is it 6? I don't know.
Feels like it's been months.
That's right. I was thinking yesterday that yesterday was the exact halfway point from the injury to when he plays again. So all of the improvement from game to yesterday, he then gets that again.
Look at that. He might have 3 legs by Sunday.
He does. So let's hear from Marcus Spears. And kind of what we've been talking about and what Matt Verderame was talking about in terms of the offensive line and the focus that's there. Let's hear Marcus Spears, the biggest focus for this Bengals offense for the Chiefs defense.
Where is Chris Jones at all times? Look, Joe Burrow has done a phenomenal job, Matt B., of getting the ball out of his hands quickly. They established the run game against Buffalo last week. All of those things can hold true against the Kansas City Chiefs. But the main priority, especially when you have a devastating rusher from the interior of the pocket who is not only a devastating rusher, but is 6'6". I know that Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for Kansas City, has to be preaching for these guys to get their hands up with guys that try to get the ball out quickly. But he dictates so much of how you have to protect. He also opens up things for the guys that's around him, similar to what we watched in the Super Bowl last year of how Aaron Donald dictated a lot about what Cincinnati had to do offensive line-wise.
Sure. Connection to Aaron Donald and how good he was last year in that Super Bowl?
That guy's pretty good.
He was pretty good.
That final drive, he was pretty awesome. Which I could have swore. I remember the Bengals not scoring there in the fourth quarter, but I keep hearing about the clutch gene.
Should I say the thing that I told you I was a little afraid to say in the break earlier?
Say it!
I think it will be for better, but potentially for better or for worse. This, by definition, has to be the Chris Jones game. What Spears talked about, what we've alluded to a little bit this week, it all lines up for there to be one matchup where the Chiefs could have a dominant win that affects the rest of the matchups on the field. It's Chris Jones against this interior offensive line. Like Spears says, if that is the number one focus for the Bengals offense, which I think it should be, they could key in on him, double team him all game, and then the other guys have to step up to pick up whatever Chris Jones is leaving on the field because he's gotten all this attention. So it doesn't mean he has to have 3 sacks in this game, but he needs to be not just the best player on the Chiefs defense, but he might need to be just simply the best player on the field in this game. I think he has a chance to do that. But man, it is a legacy game for Chris Jones, like it or not.
Let's hear from Ben Baby, the Bengals reporter, real quick, and then we'll take a break because it relates to the Bengals offensive line. This is yesterday afternoon after their practice. He gives the latest. Ben Baby, he is the Adam Teicher of the Cincinnati Bengals for ESPN. He gives the latest on the Bengals offensive line injuries.
All eyes are going to be on the health of that offensive line as they start practice today. That means right guard Alex Kappa, left tackle Jonah Williams, and even center Ted Karras, who was dinged up in that game against Buffalo but finished. I asked Bengals coach Zach Taylor earlier in the week about the status of Williams and Kappa, and he said that both are improving every day, and they'll see how they go throughout the week. The same goes for Karras, and I asked Karras after the game how he felt. The indication was that he felt good, but Zach said that Karras getting a couple of days of rest will be helpful, and they will also continue to monitor him.
Karras was a full participant yesterday in practice for the Bengals, something to keep in mind. He did, hurt that knee in the game, but again, he returns and he's a full participant. That's with one less day than, we're talking about with Patrick Mahomes. But Kappa and Williams did not practice yesterday. Maybe they play. I just don't think they will. doesn't feel like it's trending in that direction for them to play. We'll find out. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll hear from a lot of the Chiefs, coaches, coordinators, players coming up next.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB. The Zone with Jason Anderson.
Every time I walk by Mr. Goodbar, he calls me, and says, Andy, come eat me.
Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Andy Reid will be at the podium about 11:50 or so, followed by Patrick Mahomes, Dave Tobe, Steve Spagnuolo, Eric Bieniemy, and then L'Jarius Sneed and Jerick McKinnon. Getting ready for the Bengals. We'll see how that ankle feels. Also, what's the latest with Mecole Hardman? He was limited yesterday, so when Andy Reid talks here in just a little bit, probably get an update on what he thinks about Mecole Hardman, if there's a chance he can go this weekend or not. And look, hopefully he can go this weekend. That'd be great. You throw in Mecole Hardman and Kadarius Toney and Joe Thuney from the previous matchup. That is massive. You are adding 3 players to the Chiefs offense while subtracting 3 players from the Bengals offense, but adding 1 because they didn't have Joe Mixon in that game. So should point out that Joe Mixon will be playing in this one as well. I don't find it to be as big of a deal because, as we said that week, I think Samaje Perine is a bigger threat than Joe Mixon, and I still feel that way because the Chiefs have been able to slow down the run. I know that they were able to do that against the Bills, but it's just been killer when Burrow has been pressured and has been able to just dump it off at the last second to Samaje Perine, who then picks up a first down after getting that late outlet. He's more crucial to me what they do in a passing game than Joe Mixon. Is Perine in the passing game and pass protection as opposed to Joe Mixon. He's a better pass protector and also pretty good receiving it as well. Another good receiver for the Chiefs, Sky Moore. We are giving away an autographed football from Sky Moore, Sports Radio 810 Facebook page. Go there, and you can see all the details, how you enter to get this autographed football signed by Sky Moore. Follow the 810 Facebook page. Like the post. You get a bonus entry by tagging a friend in the comments. Contest will end Sunday at 5:30, so Sunday at kickoff. Facebook.com/sportsradio810, a Sky Moore autographed football. Last week we gave away a Creed Humphrey jersey. Now with Sky Football.
Think Creed had a pretty good game against the Jags? Didn't notice any real mistakes there. Sky Moore game?
Could be a Sky Moore game. Although, I think the fact that Kadarius Toney will be playing that position and will be the motion man, whereas Sky Moore was the motion man against the Bengals.
The Chiefs have really done a heck of a job this year putting Sky Moore in places where nobody asked to see him.
Punt return. Maybe not somebody else.
What I wanted.
All right, guys are injured. Sky, now you're going to be, instead of like the slot reserve,
motion man.
You're going to be the guy that goes in motion.
The jet sweep guy. What?
The Tyreek Hill, the Mecole Hardman, the Kadarius Toney. It's going to be you, Sky, which, hey, he had a handoff in that game, which he gained like 14 yards. Coming in motion, takes a snap, hands it to him while he's on that sweep, whatever you want to call it, and picks up like 14 yards. So there you go. Still used it, but I think that was the only one.
I would be buying Sky Moore stock right now because I'm guessing it's a lower value than it's been in a while.
Yeah.
And I do think next year he's going to have a real legitimate role in this offense.
Agreed.
You could almost literally buy stock in Sky Moore if you win this football on the 810 Facebook page.
Oh, yeah.
Think about it.
Okay. So there you go.
You think Andy Reid's going to be excited to see people today? 3 days in a row, right?
I mean,
2 days in a row.
Maybe. Was it last Thursday? He was in a really good mood.
And he's been in a good mood in the bigger room there. A lot of cameras out, It's not just all, Lebo and Teicher and Matt Derrick out there. He's seeing some of the real stars.
Did you hear about the little interaction there at the media room with James Palmer?
No.
And James Palmer's producer and Todd Lebo.
Oh, no.
That
Oh, no, I didn't know about this.
James Palmer was getting ready to go live there in the room. And his producer was there and says, 45 to James Palmer. He's getting ready to go live. And Lebo's talking to us, down the line or whatever, and having a conversation. And apparently this guy, is looking towards the direction of, Stephen was telling the story. He's he started looking at me. He's like, I ain't having it. I'm not making eye contact with him. And he's and then he starts looking at Paige and, telling Paige, doing an alligator symbol with your hands, shut him up. because Lebo was talking. Shut him. We're about to go live. This guy's talking, and Lebo was just ignoring him because I'm so glad that. And Lebo knew what he was talking about, but just kept ignoring him. And then Lebo, as he gets closer to 45, ends his talking. James Palmer does his hit, and Lebo lets him know, yeah, I've been in TV, man. I know what 45 seconds is.
Yeah, Lebo's been here before. Not his first rodeo.
Yeah, I've been into, how about this? Go bleep yourself.
I don't
Everybody's,
think.
Here's the thing
I haven't
also.
heard, this is the first time I'm hearing the story. I bet Lebo didn't say go bleep yourself.
He did not, but I don't think he was happy. And here's the thing. You got all the people working in there. That guy, you want everybody else to shut up while you do your particular. Lebo can't do his hit from there? He can't talk on the radio to people? No. James Palmer's going to do. You shut your mouth.
If Lebo had James Palmer's hair,
That's a good point. Well, if you had any hair, I mean, it's
especially James's, though.
Maybe it's Samson. Strength is in his hair. Lebo's strength is in just his general view on life.
That's right.
General way of going about life.
Levo's hair is actually his Samson power. Is that if he grew hair, he would actually lose it. He's an inverse Samson.
Yes, that's right.
Anyway, we'll hear from Andy Reid here in a little bit.
Looking forward to a story from Mick Schaefer tomorrow.
I saw there was a lot of text, and I couldn't keep up with what was happening, but I saw that
it's an update to a story from a couple of years ago with Mick Schaefer.
Good, because I have no recollection of what's going on in this.
And a national reporter.
I also remember that story, so I know that I knew there was some details there. But
looking forward to that update tomorrow there with Mick Schaefer out at Arrowhead Stadium.
Have we confirmed we're getting Mick tomorrow? Is Mick going to be here tomorrow?
It's a great point.
I'll double check on
It's
that.
Fast Friday, but there's a lot of press conferences going on, so maybe there is no Mick tomorrow.
Double check.
Little text.
Shoot a little text out for Mick.
Maybe a little email. Maybe a little correspondence. Maybe even a phone call.
Gonna write him a letter.
Good. Do that. Courier?
Yeah, we got a pigeon.
Drop it in the postal service. They'll take care of it. All right, so we're here from Andy Reid.
The pigeon?
Yes.
Put the pigeon in the mail thing?
Yeah, and then the mail carrier picks up the pigeon and then delivers the pigeon. Pigeon then delivers the little scroll. You think the pigeon's going to know where it's going now? We haven't trained pigeons anymore. It's not.
That's a good point,
it's not
man.
Renaissance times.
That's a great point, dude. If you just grab a pigeon out of the sky, it's like you want me to go to Derek's house?
These are not housebroken pigeons. These
All
are
right.
just wild, on their own, just doing whatever they want pigeons. These pigeons have been in the wild. They are not trained.
I just caught this pigeon. I put a Post-it note on its wing, and I said, go to Jeremy's.
Here's Andy Reid.
Again, we look forward to the challenge of playing Cincinnati. It's all yours.
Coach, Patrick was a full participant yesterday. How did he look for you?
Yeah, he did a nice job. Yeah, felt good today, so did the walkthrough. He's on track.
How much does his mobility, how much of that is built into your play designs, your scheming? How much does that require you to maybe rewrite script?
Yeah, well, you're projecting a little bit just to see where he'll be, but for the most part, we're doing the same things, so that we would normally do.
You sense a feeling from the defensive side of the ball that there's not that they don't have a job to do every week, right? But that, hey, maybe Pat's not going to be all he can be, and so maybe this is their time to shine, and maybe they're needed even more.
Yeah, Sven, I thought in the game, if that's any indicator, right? In the last game, I thought everybody picked their game up. Did a nice job with that, and so the guys aren't, they don't talk about that, but I mean, I think everybody. It was impressive to see everybody lift their game up and do that. So I'd imagine the same things happen.
There have actually been studies done that, just research and team performances. For one game, there is that lift, like what you just said you saw. Maybe there's kind of a letdown that comes.
Mm-hmm.
That's something you got to.
Yeah, well, hopefully that doesn't happen.
Andy, with the unique challenges that Cincinnati presents on the defensive end, especially how Patrick Mahomes said how they like to have game plan specific, how much of a challenge is that for you, knowing going into something where you might have plenty more unscouted looks than you normally have?
Yeah, by their defense is what you're saying. Yeah. So we anticipate that. They have pretty healthy amount of defensive things that they've done throughout the year. And I'm sure they'll have a wrinkle here or there for us coming into this one. So, but we've got things within the game plan to be able to adjust to things. And if we have to draw up a new one, we'll draw up a new one. But whatever we have to do to get the job done.
Coach, how well do you know Coach Taylor, Zach Taylor?
I don't. I know his wife better than I do him. His wife is Mike Sherman's daughter, and Mike Sherman and I are friends, worked together at Green Bay. So I remember when she was just a little shooter. But I don't know him that well.
Coach, you mentioned yesterday about Patrick wanting to do everything at practice, and you maybe being the one to have to pull him back a little bit. Did you find yourself doing that at all yesterday?
I didn't. No, he did. He did a nice job. Seemed to be comfortable with what we did. So, yeah.
And what would you like to see out of him today?
Yeah, just continue to work at not just at the ankle, but at the game plan. Just work within the game plan and do what he needs to do there. So.
Coach, we'll get L'Jarius in a couple moments here. As we enter this AFC title game, how has he grown these past couple of years?
Yeah. So we knew he was a good player coming out. Really felt that. And Spags got to know him beforehand and really felt he could fit into his scheme well. And then we've just seen him grow. The toughest spot in there is that nickel spot where you don't have that sideline to help protect you a little bit there. And he took that, and then he added this year to where he's back out at the corner, playing corner, still can play some nickel or dime for you. Very well-rounded. So you've seen him grow in just knowing the scheme and really all the positions within it.
Andy, the lower half, the feet, the footwork is so important for quarterbacks, and Pat works on it all the time. But is his arm talent maybe helpful when he's dealing with something on the lower half because he's so talented with the arm?
I would tell you yes, but his feet are doing okay right now. So he still can move them. So he's not just throwing, with all arm. But he's got it good enough. I mean, you see him do it even when there's no ankle issue. So he'll throw some balls where he's flat-footed. Yeah.
Cole Hardman, how did he look yesterday? And are you optimistic he'll be up on it?
Yeah, I'm going to just take it day by day and see. He's busting his tail. And his want is, he wants to be in there going. But I think it's important that we just keep him coming. And so he did that. He did that yesterday, and we'll just see how it rolls. But he wants to be in there going. I know that.
Coach, when you say his want, is he like in your office every other minute, or is he coming up and talking to you every?
No, but I talk to him, on the field, and you can see just his desire to do well.
Andy, the way that we're asking you for all these updates on Patrick, are you doing the same thing with your training staff with him? Are you sort of eager, like in the morning, to see how it responded?
Yeah, you know what? I see Patrick so much during the day. I talk to him, and then I have my normal meetings with Rick, and he tells me, and the best thing I get from it is either from Pat, but most of all what he's doing playing. You can see, that's where you see it. So he's doing well. He's doing well in rehab. He did well on the field.
Last one, Nate. And what do you think Walker Hill and Justin Reed gained in the first matchup? And how do you feel like their improvement? Maybe since that game a little bit or so.
Yeah, well, they've got great wide receivers and tight ends. So they'll try to stress the middle of the field with those guys. And I think that seeing that, like they've seen the last couple, in Justin's case the last time, will help him. Yeah, sure. And, again, they've got good talent there, yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right, good.
All right, there you go. They'll try to stress the middle of the field, Andy Reid says, with Juan Thornhill and Justin Reed. And them playing, that previous game, unscathed looks. Then anticipate that. Patrick did a nice job yesterday, felt good, did the walkthrough. He's on track. McCole, day by day, his want is there. We'll see if the health is there. Asked about Patrick Mahomes, is he just throwing with all arm? Says that his feet are doing okay. He's not throwing all arm, although if he needs to, he can do that. So that's always something to keep in mind. And they did not, Andy Reid did not have a feel of needing to pull him back yesterday or have him back off, that he was doing just fine and did a nice job. So all of those certainly encouraging for this weekend. And if you're just joining us, the Chiefs this morning moved to the 1-point favorites in this game from 1.5 to 1-point favorites. This is Patrick Mahomes.
I had a good day yesterday. Obviously, it's things you had to work through here and there. But overall, probably better than I expected, being able to go out there and throw the football around and get the reps in that I needed to get in.
One other thing. Tom Brady said something like he talked to you and gave you words of inspiration. Have you been hearing from people around the league telling you, they were inspired by your grit in the last game and kind of, I don't know, giving you the speech to go forward?
Yeah, a couple guys, man. Have for sure. But, I talked to Tom a little bit, and, I have a good relationship with him now, and he gives me a lot of advice. Yeah, seriously, he gives me some advice to help me. Why would you not want to learn from the GOAT, man? So anytime anybody like that wants to give me advice, I'll take it in, and it's cool to see the guys that you've watched growing up your whole life be able to talk to you on that type of platform.
Patrick, we know you're dealing with your own situation, but to be around the guys and see that just maybe everybody on offense can be by harmless, does that give you confidence in how much that you've been up there together someday?
Yeah, it's excitement, man. When you start the season, you want everybody in the playoffs. You want guys to be there and to enjoy that moment, because when you work throughout the year, it can become a grind. And we're all professionals, and we're all playing the sport that we love. But the playoffs is what we really are playing for. And so to get as many guys back as possible and to get healthy as we can, it gives us the best chance to go out there and do whatever we can to find a way to get a win.
Patrick, what are your tools are these accurate throws that you're able to do on the run? As you were testing it yesterday, how good do you feel about potentially being still able to do that type of stuff?
Yeah, obviously, I feel like I can still do a lot of things, but we'll see as we get closer and closer, and we'll see during the game. You can't fully do exactly what you're going to be in those moments in the game, but all I can do is prepare myself the best way possible, and then when we get in the game, you hope adrenaline kind of takes over, and you can make those throws when you need to.
Is there a way to gauge how much you're willing to, I don't know if cut loose is the right word, but how much yesterday you felt like just do what you normally do versus I got to watch it? How did you process that?
Yeah, you try to go as far as you can and do exactly what you normally do on a normal Wednesday practice. Luckily, Wednesday isn't the hardest practice of the week, so you kind of get through the motions and you're able to do some stuff and move here and there. Today will be another test. It's a little bit harder practice, a little bit more speed. But like I said, you're not going to be able to prepare yourself 100% for the game, but you can do the best you can of putting yourself in those positions, and then hopefully by the end of the week you're in even a better spot that you can go out there and do what you need to do to win.
Patrick, with Bobby, over the years when you worked out with him, how does he help you for these situations where you're able to get back from such a high ankle strain and be able to perform at the level you're being able to perform in practice so far?
Yeah, I have a lot of good people around me everywhere. If you talk about the training staff here, you talk about the weight staff here, and then you talk about Bobby. We do a lot of things to kind of preventative stuff, and you can't prevent all injuries, but you can prepare your body the best way possible so that whenever stuff like this last game happens, you're able to bounce back quickly. And so we've done a lot of ankle and knee and foot stuff, especially after my last few injuries I've had. And I think that's prepared me to bounce back quickly here and be able to be in a good spot that hopefully I'm able to go out there and give 100% during the game.
Patrick, I know you spend a lot of time, like a lot of young people. You're on your phone, you're very aware of what's going on and everything. You have to, at some point, come across some of the conversation that's coming from Cincinnati. Is that something, what do you do? Do you try to block it out? Do you use it as energy, as fuel? What do you do with those things?
Yeah, I think different guys use it different ways. I just try to go out there and prepare myself to play my best football. If you're not fired up to play a team that's beat you 3 times in a row in the AFC Championship game, then you're not going to be fired up for any game. So I'm excited to play up against a great football team and try to do my best effort to go out there and get a win.
On that same front, I'm sure you've probably seen people are examining every step you take and the little bit of video out there. You aware of that, and what do you think of everyone? social media doctors trying to diagnose what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, no one knows unless they get to actually put their hands on it and see it. But all I can do is just prepare my body the best way possible. I mean, I've seen the videos and everything like that of me walking. I don't know what you can really get from me walking. But I think people will see on Sunday where I'm at, and I'll see on Sunday where I'm at. I'm just going to prepare my body the best way during the week to be in the best position possible.
Patrick, obviously you don't get a chance to.
Each day? Have you felt better as you've gone through this each day?
Yeah, you have, it's kind of throughout the day you have highs and lows, I guess you would say. I mean, you get yourself ready to go for practice. You practice hard as you can, and then after you're obviously a little bit sore than you were before, you work on it and do your treatment and stuff after to get in the best shape for whenever you go to sleep and you wake up and do it all over again. So I think progressively I've gotten better throughout the week, and I'm just going to try to keep doing that, keep that same mentality and push it, but then at the same time be ready to go whenever the game comes up.
Patrick, I know, for what happened Sunday, going into this week's game, how much conversation have you had with your linemen or the coach staff has had with your offensive line, letting them know whatever happens, don't let Pat get touched?
Yeah, I mean, I think they have that mindset every game. But I mean, it's a great challenge for them. I mean, not only me having this injury and everything that comes with that, but at the same time, they're playing against a great defense. And so for them, I know they're excited for the challenge. Go up against a great football team and a great defense. And I'll do whatever I can to help them out as much as I can, and do whatever I can to help our team out have success.
We'll take four more.
Okay.
With yesterday's practice and even with today, how much do you feel like you have to give an input to Andy and Eric about how you feel comfortable with these type of plays versus this type of look, or do you just want the coaches just to deal with the game plan?
I think. I mean, I always do it in a sense, but obviously this week will be a little bit different. I'll give a feel for how I feel about each and every play. If it's a play I think we can utilize, or if it's a play that I think maybe it might not put me in the best position, I'll let them know that. And so you do that in every game plan, but obviously this week's a little bit more important to let those guys know what I'm comfortable with. But it's hard when they have those great plays up there. Sometimes you want to make sure you can get those plays ran, especially when you're playing a great team. Yeah, you get here pretty early and you do some treatment, and then you kind of go to your meetings. You come back and I have a lot of media this week, so knocking the media out, then do some rehab and stuff like that to prepare yourself for practice. Get treatment after practice, after you're watching film and stuff like that, and then you do a little bit more rehab and you go home. You get in all the different. They have like 8,000 different devices you can use before you go to sleep. And you wake up and do it all over again. So I mean, it's a full day schedule. So I try to just make sure that I can prepare my body the best way possible. And Brittany's taking that mom role even to a higher level this week. I haven't been home a ton.
James, Patrick, you've talked a lot about kind of how things change each and every maybe even play with the defense you're going against, and you guys have a really good dialogue with you and your coaching staff. What is that process like through a game as you're seeing things and they're seeing things, and you're going to try to make those in-game adjustments as it happens and finding different spots on the call sheet to go to?
Yeah, it'll be a great challenge this week because I mean they change coverages a lot. They never seem like never seems like you can get a real good feel for what they're in. They like to just keep throwing different pitches at you, and that's what makes them such a great team, and that's what's going to make it such a great game. Is we have a lot of great offensive minds, and on our side on offense, and we're going to make sure we're going to try to throw different pitches at them, and they'll do the same to us and all their defensive coaches and defensive players that they have, and so. It becomes a great matchup between two great teams, and that's what you want in the AFC Championship.
Last is right, but
Patrick, I know last year the big thing was the shell defenses and trying to take away the deep stuff from you and make you guys work a little harder going down the field and, kind of evolve that way. Number one offense again, doing that. How is it a tough thing? I mean, you've said you always want to hit that home run. That's always your mindset, but you have had to maybe be a little bit more disciplined. Was there a moment where you felt like it was clicking in and it was easier, more comfortable for you to make those decisions to take what they're giving you?
Yeah, I think it started early in training camp, just kind of figuring out the best way to execute the offense with the new set of guys that we have. And I've got a lot of different coverages this year. I've had to adapt kind of on the fly and make more and more progressions as a quarterback, and I'll continue to do that. So, like you said, when they're in their deep coverages, I have to continue to hit the check downs, continue to hit the underneath stuff. But when they give us opportunities, I have to be able to hit those as well. And so that's what makes this game so great. You can never be stagnant with where you're at. You have to continue to evolve both ways.
You know, we talk about what's given to them, take what's given underneath, and not a lot of talk about over the top. And what happened in that game with the Bills and Bengals, that Josh Allen missed 2 guys down the field and Gabriel Davis dropped one down the sideline. Those were 3 possessions in which they put up 0 points on those 3 possessions. And Josh Allen just 2 misses. Gabriel Davis, just a drop down the sideline. Like it looked like whoever the cornerback was, I think maybe Taylor Britt, got over there, maybe got a hand on it, but then you watched it in slow-mo, and he didn't touch the ball. It just went right through the arms of Davis. You got to make those plays if you're the Chiefs. So, yeah, take what's given to you, but when you get opportunities, hit those, because Josh Allen did not, and the Bills did not. And if they did, especially early in the game, does it change? I don't know. Here's Dave Tope.
Never. Okay, fire away. Go ahead.
The last 3 times that you guys have faced them, it's all come down to 3 points. Obviously, special teams is going to be a huge part of that. Are you guys putting any more emphasis on the detail-oriented practices you're already having?
No more than we always do, because every game is so important. But yeah, you're right. I mean, these games, and particularly this team, you know, it's always a close game, and you know, we're practicing hard. The guys' attention to detail has been outstanding so far this week. You know, we got a lot more work to do, but still, it's been pretty awesome.
How has Tommy been able to elevate his game?
The thing we talked about Tommy coming into the season was him being more consistent, and I think he's proven that. You know, he's game in and game out, he's been great. You know, and he's banging that ball high for us so we can get down there and cover. And you know, he's been consistent now. And as far as his punting goes, awesome. So I mean, that's probably the biggest difference.
Coach, what do you lose with Lamont and him being claimed by another team?
Yeah, I mean, it happens. I mean, you know, Veach had a plan. You know, he had a plan. You know, he always has a plan. He's a smart guy. It just didn't work out, I guess. You know, unfortunately for Lamons, you know, because now he's not going to be able to play. It's just the way it goes. You know, obviously he was a good player for us, and you know, for 3 years, did a lot for us, and I want to thank him for that. I'm going to miss him, you know, no question. But you know, the future's still good for him.
Coach, you had a couple of kick returns from Jacksonville that got some distance there. Was that the plan? Was it to try to kick it short and get the return?
No. That was not the plan, to kick it short. We were trying to kick – you know, Agnew, we respect him a lot. You know, I talked about that going into the game. I felt like he was one of the best, if not the best, you know, kick returner, you know, in the league. And, you know, our plan was to try to kick touchbacks every time, you know, but unfortunately it doesn't always happen. You know, if you try to kick touchbacks, sometimes if you mishit it slightly, you get a line drive kick. That happened a couple times in that game, and they made us pay for it.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Go ahead.
I apologize. Weather, obviously, colder temperature.
Yeah, sure.
I mean,
The ball doesn't fly as much, you know, as well, you know, in the cold weather, which we're going to have to deal with again. So we may have to come with a different plan, maybe a sky kick or short bloops or squibs or something to, you know, to try to change up the game a little bit as far as field position goes.
It's a little cold. It's going to be really cold Sunday. Saturday was a little moist too, right?
Yeah.
That affects some of those kickoffs as well. I don't think there's supposed to be much precipitation now. Is that a bit of a help on those if you want to go deep?
Really, the cold weather kind of will. I mean, it's so cold. I think it's going to be a lot colder Sunday than it was last Saturday. So I think that'll even it up a little bit. We'll have to deal with it.
How do you characterize their return teams, especially? Are they in the upper echelon category, or
Yeah, they are. They're very good, very well coached. I mean, when you watch them, the small details that that Darren Simmons has got them doing, it's impressive. You know, and they've been together for a while. They're an experienced group. You know, and they make you pay if you're not careful.
Coach, in previous meetings, you guys have been maybe one block, one step away from really breaking a return. How much do you feel like you guys are wanting to get one more opportunity to do that?
Yeah, we're continuing to work on it all the time in practice, and the guys are getting antsy. They want them. You know, 19, both and 10. You know, they both feel like they can break one, and we see it. We see it on tape how close we are. We just got to keep plugging away and, you know, be patient. You know, you can't force it, you know, because if you start forcing it, then bad things happen. So, you know, we want to keep pounding the rock there, and eventually we'll get one.
Coach, you mentioned it coming in. How excited is the staff? Coach Reed is so focused, we don't know what he's thinking. How excited are you guys as a staff to be at this spot?
I mean, you know, you think about it a little bit, but really it's going to really settle in when you're done. When you're totally done, you realize that you went to 5. I mean, we had 5 AFC conference championships at our place in a row. I mean, it's just amazing. But, you know, you really don't have time to dwell on that. I mean, besides when you guys ask us. But, you know, it's special. It really is.
Dave, you mentioned Kadarius. I wonder if you could just describe how distinct his skill set is and what it is he can do that gives you faith that, you know,
I think the thing that kind of goes, I mean, it's being noticed now is that how strong he is. I mean, guys get a hold of him, they get a grip on him, and he can run through tackles, and he's tough, and he's a tough runner. So I know when he gets a chance, when he gets a breakaway run, you know, on a punt return, he's going to make somebody pay. You know, and I just feel like it's coming.
And the way he kind of is a take your breath away guy with the way he moves, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got a great feel. You know, he's got great vision. You know, obviously strong, like you mentioned, but you know, and his speed is, you know, it's an elite speed.
As a team, you guys are so good at stealing points right before the half, right? Quick drives and getting downfield. Getting even 3 maybe before the half would be so important come
Sure.
Sunday. What's kind of your role, and how does that go through the week when you know you see
Well,
there's only a handful of seconds left and Pat can get you guys?
Yeah, you know the situations. We knew the situation then too. We just made a mistake last year. I know that was the thing that happened last year. We were in field goal range obviously, and you know we tried to get one more play. You know, and sometimes you push it a little bit too much, or you make a mistake, and then you mess yourself up there. But you know, we are always prepared. You know, for those situations. I mean, Pat, he doesn't need a lot of time to be able to get us in field goal range, and then Bucker, you know, he can do what he does, and we're always thinking at least 3 points. I mean, we're always thinking that, and I stand next to Andy. We communicate, and you know, so that's being done at all times. All right, thank you.
Hi, there's Dave Tobe. Was not the plan to kick short to Agnew, and just one of those things to where you may want the touchback. They wanted it every time, but when you mishit it, it can end up being a line drive. I think it was Mark Borichter that said that when he was out at the game and he saw that it was a line drive and it ended up short, he's like, I don't think the kicking short to Agnew was the plan. It just may have been a mishit, because if you're going to kick it short, it's not going to be a line drive. It's going to be really high, and you're going to allow your coverage unit to get down there to make a play. This was just a line drive. Here's Spags.
Seeing you all. Hopefully doing it again next week. With that, I'll just open it up. We just got done with a walkthrough practice yesterday. We're up and rolling and excited to play in the game.
Coach, with the last 3 times that you've played, what is the coaching staff, what have you all taken away from those losses that you hope to turn around?
Yeah, that we need to do a lot better. You know, the one thing that stuck out, and because it's a team game, I put up a sheet the other day of the drives that they had against us the last time we played them, and their 9 and their 10 play and their 11 play, and that means that our quarterback doesn't have the football. And so somehow, some way, we got to make sure the drives are shorter and we can get the ball back. So I'm talking about, you know, time of possessions, right? That's got to change, and it all begins with the run game. We've talked a lot about that. These guys are great at throwing the football, but we're going to respect the run game and make sure we don't neglect it.
And I know it's easier said than done, but the other thing we've talked about is getting after Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Chris Jones and Frank Clark, in those games against the Bengals, they haven't been able to bring them down.
Yeah. It's been the finishing part of it, right? We've talked a lot about that, certain schemes we have for certain pass rushes. We're going to try to do it all. This guy's elite at everything that he does. It's not just throwing the football. It's throwing it to the right spots. It's making the right decisions. It's getting out of trouble when he's rushed by some good pass rushers. You got to find a way to be a little bit under control because he's nifty. What you're saying is exactly true.
Coach, you said the finishing part. I mean, is it with him and your guy as well? I mean, I'll bet you a lot of defensive coordinators say the same thing about Patrick.
Yeah.
They're there, they're getting hands on him, and he's still able to deliver the football. I mean, is that kind of just the mark of the great ones that unload early? They'll take it to the
Yeah, when you watch him, he just is. The word I come up is nifty. He never panics in the pocket. It feels like he's got like 6 eyeballs around his head, right? No, seriously. You know, we watched him last night. Joe and I were watching him, and there's a rusher coming in. Looks like he's going to get him, and Joe didn't do very much, but he made a move, never lost balance, took a couple of steps, threw the ball downfield. Yeah, he's elite. You got to be more under control is the only thing I could say. We've worked on that. And yet, if you try to rush control too much, you never get there, right? But it's both ways. We got to cover really good on the back end to give our pass rushers time, and then we got to find a way to finish them. Getting more guys there. I mean, you want to get as many guys there as you can, right? It's hard for one guy.
You compare Joe to a young Tom Brady in the past, and
Yeah.
you're one of the guys who, in a big spot, been able to wrap.
Yeah.
How much do you turn to some of that stuff as you look toward this matchup?
Yeah, I do think he's elite like that. It's been a while, but it feels like Joe has more weapons. And I know Tom had a lot of weapons at certain times when he was there in New England. You know, it's hard to compare a quarterback to the best there ever was, but he certainly looks like he's on his way to that. We got so much respect for this quarterback and what he does. And we're going to try to find a way to slow him down if we can. Yeah. Yeah. Usually it's, you know, can you attack a protection and get somebody free? That's what we're always trying to do. And if you can do that, you can throw the timing off. If you can't do that or they're going to get it blocked up, then you got to be able to cover a little bit. And we know what they have on the outside. So like we've always done with every team, we'll pick our spots. I don't think we're going to go completely away from it. But we got to be careful because we know what he and his 3 running mates can do if they do protect it. And they have found ways to protect it. He'll see it, get guys in there, and we got to understand that.
And you say that because when you look at Jamar Chase, and I know he's been someone that's caused you all problems, somehow, some way, they find a way to get him open where he seems to be wide open, you know, against your play calling. Have you all figured out, looked at on tape, and do you still plan on going, I guess, you know, man up against him with Legarius, or do you plan on?
I'm not going down the scheme thing here. I'm not doing that. We're going to mix it up. Yeah, it was later in the game, right? Just something that we typically do, and the guys executed it well. I mean, there are times we've run those or called them. We don't execute them quite as well, or they turn protection and get it picked up. At that particular time, we got it, and they got the quarterback off timing, threw it up, and we got a pick. It was a nice play by Jalen. It really was.
Coach, just a question about you. You compared Burrow a little bit to Brady, but how do you compare him to Patrick? I mean, this is like a heavyweight fight.
Yeah.
Not necessarily about one being more mobile, but maybe with their grit, competitiveness, the way they read defenses, that kind of stuff. How do you?
Yeah, they're both the same. You just hit them. I mean, all those qualities you'd want in a quarterback, right? And a guy that finds a way to win. Both these guys do that. I don't think anything bothers either one of these quarterbacks. I really don't. I mean, you can say, I mean, listen, defensive football, you say hit the quarterback, hit the quarterback, hit the quarterback, and eventually, you know, they get happy feet or, you know, they don't. These two guys don't do that. They just line up and play the next play. That's the most amazing thing to me about both the quarterbacks.
Coach, Chris Jones, he acknowledged that he hadn't, you know,
Can you say it again, sir?
Chris Jones doesn't have a playoff sack, you know, and that got brought. You know, it's such.
Yeah.
It's obviously somewhat a statistical anomaly, right?
Yeah.
It's been so good for so long, but he acknowledged it last week going into the Jacksonville game. Do you notice it? Is it a thing? Does he push?
I was surprised when you just said that. It kind of shocked me. Now I do remember, like we were talking about here, there was a couple, and he has recognized it last year that we missed a couple. He's aware of it. Now I will say this: even when Chris is not getting sacks, you know he's helping a middle push or making the quarterback step up. Somebody, but when he does that, we need somebody else to finish him off.
The last game against them, there were several times where you probably
What we're in and where to go with the football. I think where you were going was you can't really practice tackling now. But I was this morning talking about in our practices here against the scout team, making sure that we're challenging completions or be at the confrontational point. You know, and let's just not let scout team guys catch it and tag off. I mean, we want to be a little bit more aggressive in that because of who we're playing and to the point you're making.
We keep following this Brady comparison with Burrow, but like the similarity that I see kind of is how they just methodically take what's there.
Yeah.
They're always in control. You can't rattle them. How do you keep your guys disciplined in that sense, right? When it keeps happening and that they don't take an unnecessary risk and play something out of position.
the word, James, you just said about the discipline is the first thing. And I think more than anything, when you're facing a quarterback like this, it's your eyes. It's when the eyes get undisciplined, in my opinion, that we end up having a problem. If guys play with good eyes and challenge, like we're talking about, and our D-line can give them a little bit of pressure and make them move around, then we have better downs. Now, can you do that every down or win every down against this guy? You're not going to do that. And so when you were talking about the methodical, we've talked a lot about let's make sure we don't give explosive plays, because we know what that looks like. That was up there 2 years ago, right? And if they do that, let's just keep lining up, play the next play, hoping that the next play will be one that will turn it around for us. But that's what you got to do. And we got to be able to play better in the red zone, or it's going to be really hard.
Coach, you mentioned that game a couple of years ago when they just won. You had coverage and they just
Yeah.
won the ball. Do you feel like you guys are better positioned, better talent to be able to handle them?
Well, I'm not going to go that far because I'd be insulting the guys that we had before, and I love those guys that we had. I mean, our young guys are growing. Hopefully, we've grown enough that we can match what they're going to put out there. This is an elite group we're going against. We've got to have an elite game. We've got to play our best game of the year for our team to have a chance. But we're excited about the challenge. I mean, there isn't one guy in there in the defensive locker room that isn't excited to do it. And we have played them before, so we know them a little bit, and we certainly know what they're capable of. And again, I go back to they're so explosive, and when you let them get those 1, 2, 3 explosive plays that turn into touchdowns, it makes for a long day. And I think that's where the disciplined eyes come in. We good? All right, thanks. Yeah.
All right, it's going to be difficult, obviously, against an elite offense that you've got to come up and tackle because they're going to take what's given to you, but disciplined eyes to not get beat by overreacting, and now you're burned. I mean, we saw that with the Ravens and Bengals with Eli Apple and Demarcus Robinson. Everything was underneath. Eli Apple came up underneath, double move, beat deep. Demarcus Robinson burned him. He wasn't disciplined. Shocker. So the Chiefs obviously have to play a phenomenal game on defense. Phenomenal game. Here's Eric Bieniemy.
One is just Darius Toney. How much could you describe the unique skills he seems to have in terms of his ability to move? And I have a follow-up.
The kid is a very talented young man. But first of all, hope all is well. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope all is well with everyone. It's an honor and a privilege to be here for the 5th straight year. Says a lot about this organization. Says a lot about our leadership. We got a big one this week. But let me answer that question real quick. I had to pause real quick. KT is doing a heck of a job. He's a very talented player. On top of that, he works at it.
We'll hear Eric Bieniemy talking about Kadarius Toney.
Had to get the opening statement out there first.
That's right. That's right. Excited to be
Pump
here.
the brakes, Vahe.
That's right. Hold on, Vahe. I gotta let everybody know he's gonna be all ears. Eric Bieniemy still gotta be all ears.
Been here 5 AFC Championship games in a row. No one wants me to be their head coach. Kind of weird. What?
That's right. Hoping to get Eric Bieniemy back. Here he is.
Well, I mean, he just brings a different dimension. Obviously, he's a talented, skillful receiver. Obviously, you've seen him do a number of things. He's ran the ball. He's had a few catches down here all over the field. On top of that, he's made some plays in the red zone where he's gotten it in the end zone. The thing that I like about him is that the kid is just a football player who happens to play the receiver position. And if you ask him to go block, guess what? He'll go and do it for 60 consecutive minutes if you ask him to. That's just the type of kid he is, and that's the attitude and mindset and his approach to every day.
Issues with some interwebs maybe out there. All right, we're back. Yeah.
Competitive player. It's the intestinal fortitude that's in him. He just refuses to accept that he's not going to put himself out there to be with his teammates. You love that about him. Last week was a unique situation and difficult in a lot of ways because obviously you always want to make sure that the player is okay. But more importantly, you also know that he can give you the best chance of winning. But I'll say this, the kid is an outstanding kid, and I've said this before. He was raised the right way. His parents have done an outstanding job. The thing that I appreciate about him is just his competitive nature, his will to be the best whenever he can prove that, but also, too, just being the best teammate and being there for his teammates and being accountable every single day.
What do you think is the biggest reason that he's been able to bounce back so quickly this week?
I mean, he's still working through it, and the thing that I have no idea, but I want whatever he's taking. So.
How difficult has it been to kind of project a little bit how mobile he is going to be?
Well, it's tough, but here's the thing. I mean, obviously, it's.
We'll catch up with Eric Bieniemy when we get reconnected out there. Want to just call in and hold a phone up there? It'd be awesome.
Put himself in position to go out there and play. But we also know Chad has done an outstanding job as well. So we'll be okay.
Last one, Harold.
Eric, when you look at Cincinnati's defense the last 3 times you faced them, is it something where you look at where it's just self-imposed mistakes that you've made, but we're operating at a good level? Because 10 of the 12 quarters you played, when you have played at a good level, or is it something where it's just like the finishing touch, or something they've done defense that disguise that you just keep getting thrown off by? What is it about them that you just haven't been able to put that finishing touch?
It's 2 good football teams that are going against each other. At the end of the day, the team that makes the least amount of mistakes, that's the team that comes away with a victory. So for the past 3 times that we played them, obviously we've made the mistakes. They've capitalized on them. We got to sustain drives. We have to finish. We have to protect the football. More than anything, we got to strain the finish. And I know that encompasses a lot, but when you look at it, this defense, these guys do a great job of just finishing. I mean, and it starts up front. You look at those two defensive ends, they get after it. You look at Reader, they get after it. Those guys are relentless. And so if you want to beat this team, you have got to out-effort them. Okay, you got to outstrain them. You got to be willing to play to the echo of the last whistle. So that's the type of game this is going to be. Put your hand in the dirt, knuckle up, 60-minute dogfight. And then after that, if we have to go additional minutes, hey, drink some water, get your Kool-Aid. Hey, we got to go do it. We got to go fight. Okay? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Strain to finish. Hand in the dirt, knuckle up, 60-minute ball game. Or maybe 65. We know McKinnon is in the room, so we expect Eric McKinnon to be pretty quickly after Eric Bieniemy here. And then L'Jarius Sneed McKinnon right now.
By the way, guys. Eric, I know you take a lot of pride in helping pass protect. When you watch the Bengals play, they send a lot of different people, a lot of different ways. How difficult do they make it to find out who's coming and who's not?
Well, they do a really good job at disguising, bringing guys from depth and, unusual looks. And then, they do a good job at mixing it up, like you said, whether it's, bringing the guy off the edge, a stunt in the middle, or, a safety from the top, however it comes, they do a good job. So we know we got our hands full, and it's going to be a good game.
Eric, you've become an important guy for Pat, getting his trust in the short game, the check down, the screen game. How much more elevated is that sometimes when the quarterback might be handling it?
For me, it's going to be the same thing. If he needs me, just be there and be available. Have his back in pass protection, whatever it is, and, keep him clean in the pocket.
Where's your promotion right now? Because you had a lot of trials and tribulations throughout your career, and now you're setting records. Regular season as a running back, and an integral part of the team that's playing in the Super Bowl. To sit back and think about that right now, or is that for later?
Probably for later. I'm probably right here right now, like a happy medium. There's so much, going on just like with game planning and stuff like that throughout the week that, I guess I really haven't just, sat back and really thought about it. But, when it's all said and done and I finally do, I'm pretty sure it'll probably hit me, in a whole nother way. So I'll deal with that when that time comes. But, for now, strictly Cincinnati for me.
Jared, you guys love your quarterback. But when you saw the grit he had coming back into that game last week, and you see that he is doing everything he can to be at full bore for this one, what do you think that does? Does that inspire the team? Does that make you guys just love him even more? I know you all think the world of him, but what does that performance do for you?
It definitely inspires. That being a playoff game, a win or go home type situation, and seeing him, grimace and go down, and know that he was in, you know, I guess significant pain, and watching him play through that, and you know, still doing what he does, man, completing passes. There was even one time where he scrambled, but he was hopping, and you still got yards. So, you know, when you see a guy like that, and everybody knows Pat, knows his character, knows his work ethic, he's going to give you everything he has. And, you know, when you see something like that, it does nothing but inspire you. You know, everybody on the sideline, everybody in the organization, and, you know, we all know what he brings to this team. And that right there was just another moment for him doing what he does and proving, you know, why he's Pat.
Jared, what you do in pass protection, what's your biggest concern or I guess focus heading into Sunday in terms of what they do defensively that you need to be most aware of?
Just staying on top of my keys, you know, knowing what protections is called, you know, the possible scenarios that can work out, mic points, you know, just getting together with the O-line and, you know, talking through things, maybe some unscouted looks they might present, you know, situations like that, and just making sure everybody's on the same page and, you know, doing whatever it takes to keep Pat, like I said, cleaning the pocket, give those guys on the outside opportunity to make plays.
Jared, where does your seems to be passion for blocking come from? And I wonder, what do you think the keys are to being good at that in your position?
Passion? I got little man syndrome. Yeah, I got little man syndrome, so I don't know, maybe that's what it is. And then, you know, like I was saying to somebody earlier, it was something that I'd never done in college. So, you know, obviously coming to the league, it being new, something that I had to work at and accepted the challenge. And, you know, it's got me this far. And, you know, something that's going to keep you around as a running back in this league. So, you know, I take, you know, big pride in that area, more than running and catching the ball for real. So, yeah.
And what's the key to doing it well?
You just gotta have will. That's all. You know, it's all heart and will. That's all it is. You know, you got technique and stuff like that to clean it up, but at the end of the day, it's 101. So you just gotta have the will for it.
Jared, on that front, you say it's a will, and it's technique and all that obviously is there, but there are a lot of guys that maybe can get the job done and they kind of get great training. Maybe it's not a natural act to stand in front of a guy who's 240 running full speed and you don't get to get at a speed on. You seem to be able to deliver a blow, right? Like not just you don't just absorb it. Not Zeke Elliott getting freight trained off the snap, right? Like you punch back.
Yeah.
Like how? Like is that something is that innate? Is that an ability you have within yourself?
Yeah, but I mean, you know, like I'm not gonna lie, you know, there's some big guys coming full speed. You gotta be a little crooked in the mind for sure. So, but it's what makes the game. It's what makes the game fun. You know, me and the O-line, you know, we always talk about it, they always joke about it. But, I mean, it's all aspects of the game for me that makes it enjoyable, whether it's running, catching, or not having the ball, blocking downfield, whatever I can do to help the team be better and successful.
Jared, what was one of the tips you gave Isaiah Pacheco before his first pro season start, and what do you feel like he translated well?
You know, my big thing for him was just be yourself. You know, making that transition from college to pros, and you know, you have everything that you dreamed of, you know, right there in front of you. It's kind of sometimes easy to kind of get out of your body a little bit, and then you kind of got to refocus. So just, you know, just making sure he stayed focused and was himself. And you know, ever since, you know, I met him, I had high praise for him, just the way he worked, tremendous talent he has, and I mean, everybody's seeing it from the beginning of the season to now. He's had an excellent rookie season, and you know, it's only going to get better for him.
Thanks, Jen. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
One.
All right, there's Jarrett McKinnon. We'll hear from L'Jarius Sneed. He has little man syndrome, and he's a little crooked in the mind.
Got to be a little crooked in the mind for sure.
Passion? I got little man syndrome. I enjoy the pass protection more than running and catching. It's a will. Got to be a little crooked in the mind.
So good, man.
Well,
he and Pacheco, 1-2 punch on the press conferences too, man.
Yeah. Here's L'Jarius Sneed.
What's up, guys? It's okay.
L'Jarius, third time you faced this Bengals receiving corps. Just what have you learned? How much information have you gathered to finally try to make it work in the long run?
Oh, you know, they're a great group, all of them. You know, they're pretty cool, pretty good. You know, but me and my guys, we're gonna handle them pretty well.
LJ, Coach was just up your specs talking about finishing the job. That with this team, that's more important than ever. So what have you guys really been focusing on to allow you to do that? Because, you know, you can be ahead in the game, it can come down to, you got to finish them off. What have you been working on? How have you been emphasizing
It haven't been too much of them. We've been focusing on us, on our job, what to do. The games that we lost against them all been like close games. So, it all come down to timing and to the end of the game, play to the end of the game.
My mistake, or did they do a lot of talking that last game on the field?
We're not worried about the talking. We humble. We come to play football, put our pads on.
Jarius, one of the things that Andy has said is what's so impressive with you is you can go inside, outside, that they have leaned on you a little bit more outside. What are the challenges of maintaining that versatility as you go on here?
It's not very challenging, I just tell Coach, put me where you need me. I just execute my job.
Do you like going up against one receiver so you can zone in on them in a particular week, and how does that process go?
Yeah, it's very easy because I can focus on one guy instead of playing on the inside. I got to do this and do that, run game and all. But when I'm studying one guy, I can just study him.
How much of it is the study versus just physical ability?
It's more so studying. I love studying, and the physical, I have that. That's gonna come.
In that study, are Jamar Chase tells what he's looking to do?
No.
Are you worried about getting the Cincinnati Bowl too material?
No, I'm not worried about that. We come play football. That's what we're here to do, and try to get to the bowl.
Couple more.
Well, Jake, after, at like OTAs and stuff, some of the guys we talked to, I remember talking to Chris and Patrick and those guys, they were, this last year, this AFC title game, a couple plays here and there, really ate at it for a while. How long did it take for you to put this Bengals game last year away, or is it still like with you?
Yeah, it's still with me. I'm guaranteed it's still with a couple more guys as well. We come in with a chip on our shoulder and try to not fall short on short end.
The Bengals do like to move guys around, especially Jamar. You don't put him anywhere on the field. How important is that, pre-snap recognition of realizing where he is and making adjustments based on where he likes?
It's no big diggy. We doing that right now in preparation. We know we're going to be everywhere. Line him up inside, also in the backfield. And we got things for that.
Last one.
You went through a long season as a rookie. You got obviously a lot of rookies back there as a secondary. How much better do you get down that stretch? From their last game against the Bengals, and it seems like you guys steadily progressed. How much better?
Them guys after that game, they took it to the heart. Josh, he went in the locker room, had his head down. I wouldn't have told him, don't put your head down. He took it hard to the heart, and I'm guaranteed that them guys are ready.
Thanks, everyone.
Josh Williams took it hard, head down. He gave up a couple of big plays in that game. He was there on that 3rd and 11 to T. Higgins, that last play before they took knees. It happens. He's learned from it. Jalen Watson gets a play in this game. So we'll see. L'Jarius Sneed likes to follow the receivers because you can just study and figure out one guy. A lot of studying. Yeah, physical ability helps, but I've got the physical ability, so studying. I love that.
I love the studying. Physical ability will come.
Yes.
Amazing.
All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling. Sports or Leisure coming up at 1 o'clock. More Zone next.
Want to see more of The Zone? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. The Zone with Jason Anderson.
Touch the sausage all you want, just not the beefcake.
Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
You know, they're showing video of Patrick Mahomes at practice from yesterday.
Wow.
I don't know if you've seen this or not, but he's got a yellow jersey on. Also, Jody Fortson's out there, so, got that going for you. Woo-hoo!
The biggest injury return in Kansas City. Jody Fort's season might be back.
Everybody's focusing on this number 15 guy, and they're just looking right past the guy with a huge brace on his left arm, as if that's not a big freaking deal. Can the Chiefs go 14 personnel?
I would like to see it. I think you could. Try to make that work. All of those dudes can catch passes. It would be a weird thing to have to match up against as a defense. You stay light, you run the ball. You see that defense get heavy, you throw it.
So you've got Mahomes and Pacheco, the 5 offensive linemen. Blake Bell set up like an H-back right off the left tackle or right tackle. And then you got Gray, Fortson, and Kelsey split out wide.
I'm bringing them in tight.
You're bringing them all in like a tight formation?
We are condensing this mother bleeper. We are getting Army Navy with it.
Oh, wow. So you want Mahomes to run the option then?
Yeah, specifically in this game. I'd like for him to run the option. A lot of quarterback sneaks. No, I'm saying I think you get real Army Navy with it, and then all of a sudden you've got Travis Kelce and Noah Gray running 25-yard routes down the middle of the field. Cheerio. Touchdown Chiefs.
That's right. So we listened to the press conferences, and obviously a lot of focus on Patrick Mahomes and his ankle and coming back in the game and what that does for the team and inspiration and things like that. L'Jarius Sneed talked. Steve Spagnuolo talked. He was asked about, the defense and guys traveling and the game plan. If brother texts me, he's like, why ask about the game plan? Like, what? I'm like, I agree.
Sometimes you just hope we'll give you a little.
Yeah, we're gonna put L'Jarius Sneed on Hayden Hurst or Higbee. One of the two. We're going to shut that guy down, lock them all up. But, L'Jarius Sneed traveling, I've got an opinion on this, and I don't know if you agree with this or not, Josh, but I think if L'Jarius Sneed stays with a receiver and travels, I think it'd be T. Higgins and not Jamar Chase. You agree?
Jason, that's a brilliant take that you have that we definitely didn't discuss at all in the break, where we kind of found out that we both independently came to that same conclusion.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I just led you to that by saying I said it first, therefore if you say it, you must then agree with me.
That's right.
Based on my initial take.
No, the fact that you got to that completely on your own and then opened my eyes to that possibility, I really found fascinating.
No, but we both said that in the break, like, if he's going to travel, it's going to be with T. Higgins and not Jamar Chase. Like, I feel like that's going to be much more, because the amount of times that the other corner was on Jamar Chase, like Josh Williams or Trent McDuffie and things like that, and they weren't even traveling with Sneed. But yeah, we both think it would be T. Higgins that you would travel with if it's L'Jarius Sneed and not Jamar Chase.
Higgins is 6'4", Chase is 6 foot, which I know is insane. I have to look that up every time because I think there's no way Jamar Chase is an inch under 6'50". Like, that dude's an alien, but it's true. DK Metcalf, 6'4", and then initially the first game where Sneed was supposed to start traveling a little bit was against the Chargers in that game where Mike Williams got hurt early on. He wasn't going to follow Keenan Allen, who you might consider the number one receiver. He was going to follow the bigger guy, being Mike Williams. So hearing Sneed talk about like just studying one guy and how that makes things a little easier, first of all, puts his performance against the Chargers that week probably in even more, even higher regard, because the guy he was studying for didn't end up playing very much. But if he can just be the guy that eliminates T. Higgins, a matchup that I actually think there's a chance of that happening.
Limits
T. Higgins would be fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I think there's a chance that he could do that in winning that matchup, and now you have a little help for a Trent McDuffie, for a Jalen Watson, whenever it does come to handling Jamar Chase and the rest of that pass-catching group.
But what's so interesting about, and Spagnuolo talked about it with what the defense was doing. Was it Spags that said that? It might have been Andy Reid, I don't know, that said that they were destroying wasn't the right word, but the middle of the field is what they dominated with.
Yep.
Down the middle of the field, put guys in tough positions, that it was between the numbers, and Matt Verderame and I talked about it in the 11 o'clock hour. But so while you can put some guys on the outside, what destroyed the Chiefs in December was between the hashes, just outside the hashes, but between the numbers with safeties and linebackers. They just ate all day against the Chiefs.
If they can't limit that, the rest of this might not matter nearly as much as we'd like for it to.
It was Andy Reid. He was asked about Juan Thornhill and Justin Reed, and he said they'll try to stress the middle. The Bengals, they'll try to stress the middle. And they did that. They stressed the middle a lot.
They stressed the middle of Chiefs fans. Stomach, region, stressed.
That's right. That's right.
My middle.
First drive, it was the Tyler Boyd down the middle to the 3-yard line. Second drive was the Hayden Hurst right down the middle to like the 4-yard line. A couple touchdowns. It's what they were doing most of the game. Outside, not all that effective. Inside, it was the greatest offense you've ever seen.
I'm here.
You're into sports, but nothing wrong with a little leisure time. Why not both?
You're going to have a heart attack by the time you're 40 if you don't learn to relax.
It's time for sports or leisure on The Zone with Jason Anderson.
Nine 913-381-0810 is the phone number. 913-381-0810 is the phone number.
I have breaking news for you, Jason.
Breaking news.
The Carolina Panthers are hiring a new head coach.
Sean Payton.
Former Colts head coach Frank Reich.
How about that?
I think I said when he got fired that he'd get hired again this cycle. I don't remember where I said it or who I said it to, but someone disagreed with me.
It was Lebo, wasn't it?
Making this about myself. It might have been like Sterling or something. You have to worry about it if it was Sterling.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about it at all anyway, even if it was me. Don't care. Do we have that? Are we able to play that audio on the air that was right there? I know that Beards is doing some stuff on the phone and there's people calling and everything.
Probably not this exact moment if I'm just kind of guessing where Beards is at right now. And I don't know how much of it's made it into the system here. But
phones and stuff. But I mean, if it's in a mail, an electronic mail or something like that. So the phones have now been placed on hold and stuff. So
we got some people, right? We got some people
calling in. 913-381-0810. Beard, since you're not doing anything back there, are we able to find this? Is it in the email?
I don't think I...
Am I looking for what now?
Willie Gay Jr., perhaps sent back from one Nate Bucati.
But it was probably the entire audio and not that. What was that little clip to do? I was watching on
that clip was off Twitter.
I haven't gotten
a couple people there have that. So
can you hold it up to the microphone then? Turn it all the way up and hold it up to the microphone?
It was really quiet out of my laptop, but if you give me a second, I can pull it up on my phone and just do one of those.
Was that on Twitter?
I can do that right now. Yeah, sure. Let me do it off my phone where the speaker will be.
Was it on Twitter?
Yes.
Who tweeted it?
PJ Green. I'm on it right now. I'm just doing it from my phone where the volume will be a little higher. Do you want to set it up at all, or you want me to just
this is Willie Gay in El Locker Roomo getting ready for the
That's the Bengals defensive coordinator, Jason.
Oh, sorry. Here's Willie Gay in the locker room. There's about a 40-second clip, and this is going to get some play. If you want to turn up his microphone a little bit louder, just in case, Beards, and I'll not talk.
I'm just excited to be playing football, man. That's just what comes with the game, you know. We, like Coach Reed said, we don't do no talking. We just go handle business when it's time to go.
What is it about that Bengals offense that maybe impresses you the most? You played it a few times.
Nothing.
Okay.
What do you got to do personally? You think you go out there and have your best game and help get the team to the Super Bowl?
Stop the run for sure. You know they're gonna try to do that to, you know, act like they can big boy us, but front 6, 7 gonna definitely do our job and try to slow that down. So.
If you missed that, listen closely. Oh,
do you want me to just do that part again?
Almost had it. Nope, I got it.
What is it about that Bengals offense that maybe impresses you the most? You played it a few times.
Nothing.
Okay.
There it is. Nothing. So about that whole, we're just going to let our play do the talking, and we're just going to go out there and do the things we need to do, and bulletin. It doesn't matter. They can talk or whatever, but we're just focusing on ourselves. And then Willie Gay's like, hold my beer. It's a pretty easy question to answer, to not, if you don't want to say something. What is it that impresses you about the Bengals offense? Good wide receivers, Joe Burrow. I mean, they're good. We played them a few times, and we know what to expect, and we know how good they are. Next question. What is it that impresses you about their offense? Nothing. Then he doubled down, leaned down into the microphone, and said, nothing. All right, so cool. That'll be fun.
At least he didn't say Tyler Higbee.
At least, you know what? He didn't say they were going to lock him up. So there you go. Didn't say that. We're going to lock everybody up.
I think Spags probably had the more true to form answers today. He called Joe Burrow or described him as elite no less than 3 separate times.
Nifty.
Called him nifty, elite. Said he plays like he has 6 eyes around his head.
Yeah.
Have to have a special helmet for that, I would think.
You would.
But I think the we respect them and we're trying to play is probably the message the Chiefs are trying to send.
Yeah.
And Gay had said something very close to that right before.
Yeah.
The nothing. The double nothing.
Nothing. What if he was trying to? I'm saying nothing. All right. I'm not going to say anything to give bulletin board. Damn it! Don't say something stupid. Don't say something stupid. Don't say something stupid. Don't say something stupid. I think they suck. Son of a gun! I did it. I didn't mean to. All right. So there you go. Burrowhead. We hope Mahomes is healthy, so there are no excuses. What impressed you about the Bengals offense? Nothing. All right, talking season. Here we go. You've just given them extra motivation in a AFC Championship game. It would have been nice to not have that this go around, right?
Yeah, it would have been nice.
It would have been nice just to simply say, okay, well, there was one side doing the talking, and now you got to go out there and play. But Willie Gay. Also, by the way, Willie Gay, you were awful in that game the first go around. So I guess if nothing impresses you about them, then how awful do you think your game was in that matchup?
Jason, what really impressed you about the middle of the Chiefs defense in that game against the Bengals? You guys have seen them twice, obviously, and
nothing. Hey, Jason, what impressed you?
You can ask me now. We switched roles. I mean,
Josh.
Thanks.
Hey, Josh, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Josh, what impressed you about the Chiefs' defense in the middle of the defense, like with the linebackers and stuff?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
Yeah, I agree with that. Nothing.
Very little.
Nothing.
Maybe less. Maybe less than very little. Well, let me check again.
Negative.
Nothing.
What impressed me was their ability to not be in the right place. That was incredibly impressive.
I really do think Willie Gay walked back to his locker right then thinking, mother bleeper, I know what I did. That was,
sorry about that, guys. That's on me. Sorry. All right, let's play what will be an abbreviated version of Sports or Leisure because we got a lot of breaks to catch up on from the press conferences.
Hour-long press conference.
That's it, and such. 913-381-10-810. How you play, you get a sports question, you get a leisure question, get them both right, you win. Get either of them wrong, you lose. But the question is out there available for someone to call in and request. We don't give out the answer until it is answered correctly or we have run out of time, and then we tell you what the answers were that we did not get answered correctly for our questions. And if you get both a leisure and a sports question, you win $25 to Johnny's Tavern.
Hey, Beards, Lebo just sent Willie Gay audio back.
Yeah, I saw.
Oh, he did?
just a minute ago.
Is it significant?
No, I don't think so. It's
Okay,
just
yeah,
we
we
got the part we wanted to talk about. I just
play
I got a new email. Hey, all right, Willie Gay.
Gay. Hey, Bill, if you had to do it over again, would you have the same comments?
It's a totally different scrum this time.
That's right, just different people show. I don't know what you're talking about. That's so there you go. That's out there and floating. And so, yeah, that'll gain some traction over the next 24, 48, 72 hours or so. All right, let's go through the categories to win some Johnny's Tavern. We have Chiefs postseason. We have a category called Catching Kelsey, which is just a bunch of postseason questions around receptions. Kelsey is not the answer to them. Kelsey is the jumping off point. But Catching Kelsey, and then we have general NFL questions, all football. What about on the leisure side?
I'm only giving you 3 categories today because I got 2 fresh ones that haven't gotten any picked from them yet. So we have the commonly misspelled word spelling bee if you really feel like you need to go that route. But we also have car problems. That's 2 R's in honor of the Las Vegas Raiders. Some famous vehicles from largely cinema history.
Okay.
And then big cat hunting, which will I was prepared for there to be Jaguar questions in here, but mostly these are Tiger-adjacent questions in light of the Chiefs' AFC Championship game opponent. So spelling bee, car problems, big cat hunting.
Needs a little bit of love.
It's beautiful.
Here, kitty. All right. 913-381-10-810. Good to go. Josh, you good to go?
I'm ready to go. Jason Beard, you ready to go?
I'm sure.
All right, very good. Let's go to Chuck first up, leading us off here on Sports or Leisure on a Thursday. Try to go as fast as we can. Chuck, go right ahead. What's on your? Sports or Leisure? What side do you want to start with?
Let's start with leisure, and I guess I'll go with car problems.
Fantastic. Thank you for doing that. Ka-chow! This famous kid-friendly speedster shares a number and a uniform color with Chris Jones.
Chris Jones is all about power.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is all about speed.
Oh, no, Jason. He's not about speed. He is
I'm assuming Lightning McQueen. He's red. Yeah, Lightning McQueen is my guess.
Oh, man, we were looking for Jackson Storm.
You were correct. We were not looking for Chick Hicks either. That
what
was
about Cruz Ramirez?
Lightning McQueen. Ever think about that? Number 95, red on white or white on red?
I hadn't thought about that
Come
at all
on.
until now.
that.
Love it. Ka-chow. All right, on to
indeed.
the sports side. Chiefs postseason, catching Kelsey or NFL?
In honor of the best reality show of all time, I'll go with Catching Kelsey.
Okay, great. After Travis Kelsey, and by the way, Travis Kelsey has 120 receptions in the postseason in his career. He's got 120 receptions and 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns. He's got a full season worth of postseason games. After Travis Kelsey, who has the most postseason receptions among active players? After Kelsey,
Oh, geez.
active players, most postseason receptions after number 87.
Did they used to be teammates?
I mean, they could have been.
I'll go with the cheetah, Tyreek Hill.
That's correct, Tyreek Hill.
Incredible, man. Wow.
Tyreek Hill, 91 receptions for Tyreek Hill. 9 more for him. He will be the fourth player in history to have over 100 receptions in the postseason for Tyreek Hill. He needs 9 more. Chuck doesn't need any more answers because he is heading to Johnny's Tavern. $25. Chuck, congratulations. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. There's winner number 1, Tyreek Hill.
Speed gets you. That's what speed do, really.
Speed.
Lightning
do that.
McQueen to Tyreek Hill.
That's right. And Gerard Dyson somewhere here in our answers.
We'll work at it.
And Terrence Gore. Let's go to Avery next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Avery, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with?
I'll do cars.
This black and yellow Transformer got a standalone movie in 2018, and the underdog Autobot has been depicted as anything from a yellow muscle car to a beat up Volkswagen. Easy for me to say.
I mean,
Bumblebee.
That's ridiculous.
I thought that was the hardest of the ones that I had. So
Really?
that's a ding ding. And Jason, go ahead and just knock Avery off his high horse or his high Transformer here. Then.
Well, you put him up there.
Kelsey.
You put him up there.
I didn't mean. Look, the other ones are also
Okay.
also layups. I'm afraid.
Travis Kelsey had 14 receptions against Jacksonville this past weekend. His 14 are the second most receptions in an NFL postseason game. 2 players are tied for the most with 15. Name either.
Feel like I should say Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice would be a great guess, but it is.
I'm gonna guess Jerry Rice.
It is incorrect, though.
Ooh, really?
Jerry Rice would be a great guess, is who I would guess as well, because he's got a whole lot of receptions, but apparently just not that many in one particular game. Yeah. Avery, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it, sir, as always. 913-381-0810. He didn't let me finish when I said Jerry Rice would be a great guess, but
It would be a great guess.
Instance, it is not a great guess. Let's go to Charles next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. That question is out there. Charles, sports or leisure, sir?
Let's do. Let's try the car.
All right, the DeLorean achieved cult classic status with a little help from Back to the Future. That's the easy part. But how many gigawatts did it need to get up to the speed it needed to time travel? And what was the speed?
88.
And how many gigawatts did it take to get to 88 miles per hour?
I'm not sure on that one.
This is a two-parter. This is a cruel two-parter. I thought this one was easier than the Bumblebee question, so that's just, I'm bad judge.
I thought the gigawatts was easier than the miles per hour, to be honest with you. See, if Charles and I were working together, we'd have the right
You'd
answer.
have this one
If this
figured
was like a trivia team where you get a group of guys together or gals and you do the trivia night and you got like a table of people, we would have this question knocked out.
At least I didn't say, what movie is the DeLorean from? Like, I'm trying to up the difficulty level by just a smidge.
That would actually be more difficult than Bumblebee, in my mind.
Anything coming to your mind on the gigawatts?
No, not really.
I'm going to throw a number out there of how many gigawatts you think it would take to get to 88 miles an hour? If you were a doc?
How about 1.21?
Mysterious excellence.
Love
Wow,
it.
you no-scope that out of nowhere.
I love that,
And I
Charles.
think they said 1.21 in the movie. I don't think it was ever. Yeah, interesting. Interesting, Charles.
Pulled that out of my pocket.
Absolutely pulled it right out of the thing that was in your pocket.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. We got to get a quicker hook on these. We got to get vaudevillian out here.
Charles, onto the sports side, Chiefs postseason, catching Kelsey, and NFL.
Let's do general NFL.
General NFL for you. Okay, so Patrick Mahomes had 11 consecutive games with at least 250 yards passing in the postseason. He fell one game short of tying the record of 12 straight games because he did not have 250 this past game because of the injury. Who holds the record of 12 consecutive games of at least 250 yards passing in the postseason?
Is it the really, really obvious answer?
I mean, it could be. Yeah, it depends on what you think.
Why don't you Google it?
It's not Joe Burrow, if you're thinking the obvious answer of who's better than
No,
Mahomes.
I'm not thinking Joe. I got to go with my gut. Tom Brady.
Tom Brady is correct. 12 consecutive games of at least 250 yards passing, and Patrick Mahomes was going to fly by the 250 in the game on Saturday, and who knows where he would end up.
Jaguars.
That damned Sasquatch. Charles will put you on hold and get your information. Congratulations, sir. Well done.
Thank you now. All right.
Absolutely. 1.21 gigawatts to get to 88 miles an hour, and to help him get to 2 questions, all it took was 5G.
But now he gets 25 USD at Johnny's Tavern.
To Johnny T.
At JT's is what I call it.
Let's go to Eric next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB, a little sports or leisure. Eric, what side do you want to start with?
I'll go leisure or the cat question.
This big cat enthusiast rose to fame with the release of Tiger King, but now he's campaigning for his release from prison.
I mean, Tiger King.
I don't need his legal name either. I will take what is essentially his stage name is what I have written down as the correct answer here. It's been just long enough since Tiger King that I figured this might become something people have to dig out from the pandemic corners of their brain.
I'm frozen, dude. I don't have it.
All right. Eric, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it. 913-381-810.
I try to open the categories with the boy. My radar for what are the easy and difficult questions in my own categories still terribly miscalibrated.
I think Bumblebee was easy. Was really too easy, and you thought that was the hardest one?
I thought it was more difficult than my Back to the Future question about the gigawatts.
You thought Bumblebee was, yeah.
I thought it was more obscure on the Transformer universe, but
I think Tiger King is more difficult because I just know him as Tiger King.
It really,
and that's just
okay.
speaking from my own personal
right.
experience. Matt, next up on Sports Radio 810, a little sports or leisure. Matt, what side do you want to start with?
I will try the Tiger King one.
Okay, could you do me the favor of giving, if not the legal name, the stage name of the Tiger King?
That would be Joe Exotic.
Yes, it would.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, indeed, it would.
I thought you needed his legal name.
No, it's like Maldonado or something. I think that's
Martin.
It's Mariota.
Yeah.
I think. I think it's
catcher.
Yeah, that's
Who's
right. Maldonado. What did I say?
Yeah, Martin Maldonado.
Yeah.
Onto the sports side, Matt, we've got...
it is Maldonado. Look at that.
How about that?
Any relation? I'll look up.
Yeah, see if he's related to the catcher. Chiefs postseason, catching Kelsey, and NFL.
Is the receptions one still out there?
It is. Is that one you would like?
Let's give it a whirl.
All right, Travis Kelsey, 14 receptions versus Jacksonville this past weekend. His 14 are the second most receptions in an NFL postseason game. 2 players are actually tied for the most with 15. Name either. Jerry Rice was guessed earlier. That is incorrect. You say?
So I think it little not a receiver. Was it James White?
James White.
Holy bleep.
James White. And want to throw a dart as to who the other one was in the realm of a James White. Local connection. Very local connection.
Oh, Darren Sproles.
That's right. Darren Sproles and James White both had 15. James White had another game with 14.
That's crazy.
Isn't it, though? Is that a winner? That's right.
That's a winner.
Joe Exotic and James White and Darren Sproles all put together.
I mean, come on. What can
That's
you
right.
not use your noodle for here on the zone?
Unlike Joe Exotic, teams could not lock up Darren Sproles.
Heyo.
Matt, we'll put you on hold. Congratulations, sir. Well done. Heading to Johnny's Tavern $25 for you. Let's get one more in before we go to a break. Let's go to Ryan next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Ryan, what side would you like to start with, sports or leisure?
Yeah, hello. Let's do sports.
All right, Chiefs postseason, catching Kelsey, and NFL.
NFL.
All right, NFL. We have a couple of we have a Chiefs-specific NFL question, then we've got a lot of general. So I just wanted to throw that one out there that we have a Chiefs-specific one. But general NFL for you, or that Chiefs one?
General NFL.
All right, very good. All right, so let's go with this one. Dak Prescott had his 4-game playoff streak of at least one pass and one rushing touchdown in a game snapped this past weekend. He did not rush for a touchdown. There are 2 players he was tied with for first place in the 4 games streak. Name either of the quarterbacks.
All right, just one of them.
Either of the 4. Now you got 4 straight playoff games with at least a rushing and a passing touchdown. So they'd have to play in that many playoff games, but at least 4 straight games.
How about Steve Young?
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
good pull.
Steve Young.
Good call.
Want to throw a dart at who the other one is? Local connection.
I was gonna say Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
There you go.
Patrick Mahomes, Steve Young, and Dak Prescott, all thought of in the same category.
Yeah,
Just
really.
like Joe Exotic and Darren Sproles.
That's right.
All fit together. On to the leisure with Josh.
We've got the spelling bee, we've got car problems, and we've got big cat hunting.
Go with car problems.
This white beetle dons a red, white, and blue stripe, regardless of if it's a love bug or fully loaded, but it also has a name, and that's the important part.
Herbie?
Correct.
Nice job.
Where did that rank on the difficulty of the questions? You know, that's not a super modern reference. Regardless, that's a winner. So
I mean, maybe
super
it's just
duper
me.
winner.
Maybe it's just me. I still think Bumblebee was a layup. So that's whatever.
Were you a Transformers kid?
No.
Okay.
Ryan, we'll put you on hold. Congratulations.
Yes,
sir.
sorry, right. Thank you, Ryan. Congratulations.
I wouldn't like. I liked him. I like,
Okay.
but like being like a Transformer kid. Like I don't know. Like I didn't transform into other things. I was just a regular human.
You didn't try? You never like sat in a cardboard box and thought really hard about what if I could turn into a car? Or like what's the one where they can turn into animals? Kids turn into animals and you can like turn into a bird or whatever. You never read those books? Those might have been a little later. Those feel like a late 90s, early 2000s thing.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. A little more sports or leisure next.
Follow the show on Twitter at J810Anderson, at JB Brisco, at Beards McFly, and at Sports Radio 810. You're in the zone with Jason Anderson
To be honest, I didn't even know who Jason Anderson was.
on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, playing a little Sports or Leisure, 913-3-810-810. Presented by Johnny's Tavern. $25 to Johnny's Tavern on the line. Sports or Leisure, 913-3-810-810. Let's reset the categories. On the sports side, we've got Chiefs postseason, we've got Catching Kelsey, and we have general NFL questions with a specific Chiefs question in the general, but it's not a Chiefs postseason, so that had to go in its own category. What about leisure?
We got the commonly misspelled word spelling bee, but the two categories really making waves today in the trivia world are car problems involving famous cars from fiction, and big cat hunting involving big tigers from, and at this point, I gave you the one true to life example. So we got cars and cats and words to spell. What else could you ask for?
We can ask for Joel to come on in and play a little sports or leisure here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Joel, what side do you want to start with, the sports side or the leisure side?
Let's go leisure and car problems, please.
This 1969 Dodge Charger isn't exactly Lightning McQueen, but it does have a number on the side of its bright orange coat of paint. It's a ride fit for a king, or maybe someone slightly less powerful than a king, a prince. No, that's not it either. What movie is this car from?
It's the Dukes of Hazzard, the General Lee.
Less powerful than a king and a prince. You guys get it? The Dukes? Good work.
Got it.
I didn't think, because it was royalty versus like the general, and I'm like, where are you going with this? It's you're looking for general out of king, and anyway, onto the sports side. Chiefs postseason, Catching Kelsey, and NFL.
Let's go Chiefs postseason, please.
All right, Chiefs postseason for you. Travis Kelsey has 7 games with 100 or more receiving yards in the postseason, 2 yards away from having number 8. There are only 2 other Chiefs players to have more than one 100-yard receiving game in the postseason while wearing a Chiefs uniform. Who are they?
I would think one would be Tyreek Hill.
That's correct. That's why I asked for both, because Tyreek seems like the free space. He had 4 for the Chiefs. Kelsey's still sitting at 7. I really hope it's number 8 this weekend. And then the only other player to have more than one game in their Chiefs career with 100 or more receiving yards.
I'm not looking at anything. I'm going to say Eddie Kinnison.
Eddie Kinnison is incorrect. It is incorrect, Joel. Joel, I appreciate it, man. 913-3-810-810. Eddie Kinnison, write that one down. That was guest. We head to Andrew next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Andrew, what side would you like to start with?
Let's go cars.
All right, this 1987 American comedy is written, produced, and directed by John Hughes, starring Steve Martin and John Candy. And yeah, I guess it goes well beyond the cars, but it's at least 33% of what I know about it.
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
Correct.
A Thanksgiving classic. Thanksgiving classic. That movie has way more of a right to be played in a 24-hour marathon on Thanksgiving than A Christmas Story does on Christmas.
Wow.
I disagree with that.
Well, then you are gone, Andrew. See ya.
Andrew, you know what? Buzzing.
That's the wrong answer, Andrew.
That was the wrong answer for Jason's question.
You got that one wrong, sir.
Yeah, just so everyone knows, the best answer for Jason is to just agree with whatever he says, and you keep it moving.
That's right.
LeBron James.
All right, winner here.
All right,
for
he
Andrew.
listens.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, on the sports side, we got Chiefs postseason, Catching Kelsey, and NFL.
Chiefs postseason.
All right, so we got the question out there about the multiple games of 100 yards receiving or more, and we have some fresh ones.
Let's go fresh one.
Okay. There are 5 players in Chiefs history that have at least 100 rushing and receiving yards in their Chiefs postseason career. At least 100 rushing and at least 100 receiving. Name 3?
3, 100, and 100. 100.
In their careers. Obviously not in one game. That'd be pretty badass. But in their careers. 5 Chiefs players.
5 Chiefs players, both.
100 rushing and 100 receiving.
Damian Williams.
That's free space always. Damian Williams is one.
Tyreek Hill.
Not
rushing.
Not Tyreek Hill. He did not have the 100 yards rushing. Did not have it. Andrew, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it. There's one of those answers down. Need 2 of the other, what would be 4 players to have at least 100 rushing and 100 receiving. Let's go.
We've also closed out the car category. The car has broken down, which is also something Josh McDaniels said recently, I think.
And of course. Ronnie next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Ronnie, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with, sir?
Let's see. Do we have any of the pun game?
Name game is not here today. We have the spelling bee and big cat hunting
left.
Remaining, yeah.
I guess we'll do.
I believe in your ability to hunt down this big cat if you were feeling the pun name. If you want to start sports side, though, please feel free. We're trying to be encouraging.
Okay, I'll do the big cat, whatever.
So excited.
That's actually the name of the category. Big
It actually
cat, whatever.
is. Well, look, the most famous tiger in food has really embraced his sporty side, despite the fact that his product is a sugar-blasted bowl of carbohydrates. But, hey, they do taste great.
Frosted Flakes, Tony the Tiger, or what do we?
Yes, Tony the Tiger.
Yeah, a comprehension of the cereal is good. That'll do.
Tony the Tiger. All right, on
Sorry,
to the.
I forgot the category.
Oh, you're fine. On to the sports side. Chiefs postseason, catching Kelsey in NFL.
Chiefs postseason.
All right, so we got 2 questions out there. One about the multiple 100-yard receiving games. One about the players to have at least 100 receiving and rushing in their Chiefs career. Or we have a couple of freshmen.
And it's 100 receiving and rushing.
Yep, in their career.
Postseason?
Yeah, postseason career only. So there are 5 players in Chiefs history. Damian Williams was one of them. And need 2 of the other 4 because I feel like there's another easy one on the board with that. But we also have fresh questions.
And you only have to get 2 total?
Yep, 3 total, 2 more. Damian
No,
Williams.
let's just go with a fresh one. I'm not dealing with it.
Okay, very good. Patrick Mahomes had 2 games in the playoffs last year when he completed 75% or more of his passes. What player holds the Chiefs' record for completion percentage in a game as a starting quarterback?
Is this a trick where they only attempted a few passes?
Nope. He was the starting quarterback and played in the whole game, and it was he was the quarterback the entire game.
And this is a non-Patrick Mahomes question?
Yep. Patrick Mahomes did. Yeah, that is not the trick where Patrick Mahomes has the record, but no, it's a different quarterback.
75%, you said?
It's better than 75%. This person had 77.3%, which is the record. For
Well, we didn't punt, so I guess I'm just going to guess Trent Green.
Not a bad guess, but that is incorrect. Ronnie, thank you for playing, sir. Appreciate it. Let's go to Scott next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Scott, sports or leisure?
What's going on, guys?
What is up?
Boy, I've got a couple of guesses on those the Chiefs questions out there, but I don't want to just completely blow it first question. So, can I get a fresh Chiefs playoff history question if you have one?
We got one left. Travis Kelce last year became the all-time leader in postseason touchdowns with 12 in Chiefs postseason history with 12. He now has 14. What player did he pass last year? He was second all-time for the Chiefs going into the postseason last year. He's now first and continuing to extend that lead. What player was first last year?
Receiving touchdowns, you said?
Or postseason touchdowns.
Total, okay.
Just total touchdowns.
Not passing, though, right?
No.
Rushing, okay, got it.
Rushing, receiving. Kelsey's been receiving.
Yes, fair.
But
is that right?
Just total touchdowns.
Oh, man, I should have taken a guess on one of the other 2 questions. Boy. I would love to say Jamal Charles, but he only played in one postseason game, I think.
Yeah, see, volume matters.
I wish I could buzz you for that. Made me sad.
Volume matters.
Boy. I'll just throw a dart. Ed Podolak.
Oh, it is not Ed Podolak. No, it's not Ed Podolak. Scott, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it. 913-388-10-810. Here's the thing. We X'd out the phone lines because we didn't know how much time we had to play, and now we have wide-open phone lines because Beards just un-X'd them.
Okay. They're sneaking like one after the break, maybe? We get a closer or
I
two
don't
in
know.
here?
X gonna give it to you. Let's go to Sonny next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
never mind.
Sonny, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with, sir?
Oh, what's up, players? Let's go with that leisure side. You got the big cats in there.
I got big cats for you, and this one's my favorite, so I hope you get it. Because this comic strip icon seemed to phase back and forth from stuffed to very much alive alongside his 6-year-old maniacal co-pilot. He loved tuna, pouncing on his spiky blonde-haired cohort, and surviving the attack of the deranged mutant killer monster snowgoons.
Jeez, dude. I don't know.
Oh, it's packed with clues. Oh, there's so many clues.
I thought you were just going to just spell the name. Like Brisco, not you.
Yeah.
All right, Josh, give me that spiel one more time, buddy.
Oh, God, we don't have all day.
I know.
This comic strip icon seemed to phase back and forth from stuffed to very much alive alongside his 6-year-old maniacal co-pilot. He loved tuna, pouncing on his spiky blonde-haired cohort, and surviving the attack of the deranged mutant killer monster snowgoons.
See, I think if you don't know the answer to that, all the other clues aren't going to help you.
I think you're probably right.
If you're not,
I think you're probably right.
Man, that's horrible. I'm gonna. I know it's not the answer, but I'll just shoot it out there. It's Garfield, but it's not. That's my answer, and I'm Xing out. Jeez Louise.
Dang.
You guys keep rocking, though. Love you guys.
Sonny, appreciate it,
Thank
man.
you, Sonny. Sorry if I've fallen down in your zone power rankings. I'd understand.
Do we have time to play on the other side, or Beard says no? Well, now I'm sad.
Shane just texted me the answer to that one.
Was it the Wildcats?
Well, I mean, it's Jungle Cat.
Yeah. I just figured most of Shane's answers are just Wildcats! KC! Emo! Wabash!
One of the books was called Homicidal Psycho Jungle Cat.
Win the dang day!
Homicidal Psycho Wildcat is what I call Shane.
Love, not hate!
We should tang a break.
Take the show with you by listening live on 810WHB.com, in the 810 mobile app, or by subscribing to The Zone wherever you get your podcasts. The Zone with Jason Anderson.
I'm going to get to this point and then I'm going to stop.
Looking forward to it.
Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, let's get to the answers for the sports or leisure. On the sports side, all 4 of the Chiefs postseason questions I had left did not get answered. So thanks a lot, people.
Can I try to answer all 4 of them at once? Yeah, let me try to answer all 4 of them at once.
All right, Travis Kelce became the all-time leader in postseason touchdowns with 12. What player did he pass last year?
What are the other questions again? You want to go ahead and set up all of them up? I'm going to answer them all at once, actually.
Okay. Travis Kelce's gone 7 games with 100 or more receiving yards in the postseason. There are only 2 other Chiefs to ever have more than one 100-yard receiving game in the postseason. Who are they? Patrick Mahomes had 2 games in the playoffs last year where he completed 75% or more of his passes.
Forgot about this one.
What player holds the Chiefs' record for completion percentage in a game as a starting quarterback? And there are 5 players in Chiefs history that have at least 100 rushing and 100 receiving yards in their postseason career. Name 3. Your answer?
Damian Williams.
Damian Williams would be the correct answer to
just the one, though, probably, right?
The total touchdowns that he
it
was
is
the
both.
leader.
He was the guy that was that Kelce passed.
Kelce passed Damian Williams. Ed Podolak was guessed, but Damian Williams is the one. I thought that was the easiest. That's why I saved it for last. 5 players in Chiefs history that have at least 100 rushing and 100 receiving in their Chiefs postseason career. Name 3. Damian Williams was guessed already.
So he's got to be on that list.
Marcus Allen was the one that I thought was also the easier one.
Makes sense.
And then 3 other players.
Kareem Hunt do it?
Nope. Mike Garrett, Jerick McKinnon, and McCole Hardman.
McCole Hardman, huh?
Yep, that's right. Multiple 100-yard receiving games in Chiefs postseason history. Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and with 2, Sammy Watkins.
Makes sense.
And Alex Smith against Houston in 2016 completed 77.3% of his passes for the Chiefs' all-time record. Any on leisure?
Hobbs from Calvin and Hobbs. An iconic comic strip. My personal goat. He's a tiger, but the comic is the greatest of all time.
I see where you're going with that. So there we go. You know what I realized?
What'd you realize?
As we had to break and Petro takes over, that with the Chiefs starting at 5:30 on Sunday, I am not going to have a weekend. My entire weekend will be thinking about 5:30 on Sunday. The entire weekend will be, how do I pass the weekend to get to 5:30 on Sunday?
I got a guy.
Okay. Cool. Give him my number.
Champion.